Cloud.
Thanks, Kenny. There's going to be a pre-match tribute here for the former Aberdeen left-back Ali Shewan, who passed away earlier in the week. He played a ridiculous number of consecutive matches at the club in the 1960s. And he played in that 1967 Scottish Cup final as well. He was local as well from Turra, and he is receiving a tribute here from the supporters, and a minute's applause. Applause for Ali Shewan, who lost his life earlier this week at the age of 83. So just about ready to go here at Pittodrie. Aberdeen will shoot from left to right, wearing the red and gold. The Celtic players go into their traditional huddle. And Aberdeen, well, completely and utterly beleaguered right now. I'm not sure what direction they're going in as they look to appoint yet another manager. We understand will be an interim until the end of the season. The Celtic players break out from their huddle. They've been beaten in their last 15 visits to Pittodrie. And you've got to go back to 8 years to the date for the last Aberdeen win here against the champions. Hayes and Church got the goals in a 2-1 win. And Bojan Miovski is awaiting Stephen McLean's first whistle of the afternoon. Celtic in the green and white hoop shirts, of course. And their fans over in the south stand to the left-hand side of it. We are at the back of the main stand opposite the south stand where the TV cameras are housed. And Bojan Miovski, who got Aberdeen's goal in the 1-1 draw with Dundee here the other night from the penalty spot, their top scorer, their star of the season, has been made to wait here. I'm not sure if perhaps there's some kind of issue with the VAR down there. That's certainly what the monitor is showing in front of us, that there may well be some kind of communication problem here, because everyone's ready to go, including the TV broadcaster. It's not like they're in an ad break just now, Willie, so it looks as though the players are going to have to try and do a little bit of a warm-up to keep going here, because there's been a delay to kick off.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that. Some kind of a technical problem that they've got with the VAR. You know, my advice, just go without it, to be perfectly honest. You know, it's a huge game, isn't it? You know, the fans are here, they've turned up in their numbers. Huge Celtic following, a really important Aberdeen following that's turned up. And
Stephen McLean's having to come over.
It's awful. It's awful. It's so disappointing. It's so disappointing.
Does this happen in other countries?
I'm sure it does. We're not in other countries, so we can't see. But we see the facts here today that now VAR's caused an issue, not during the game, but before the game.
He's going to speak to the two managers, Brendan Rodgers and Peter Leven, who's in charge of Aberdeen today, former Kilmarnock player. He was assistant there as well. Clark, he's had some experience abroad as well. He was brought to Aberdeen by Barry Robson last summer after Liam Fox returned to Hearts. So Stephen McLean's just down there explaining to Leven and Rodgers exactly what the issue is.
Yeah, but the fans don't know. It's unfair on the players, but the fans don't know what's going on either, do they? You know, he's a way back, so you know, hopefully he's not going to take the players back into the dressing room. We have not got a clue, Liam, what the problem was, what the issue is, but it's looking as though we're going to kick off. So that mystery will be cleared up in a short period of time.
And you might have got your wish, Willie, that VAR, forget it, just carry on.
You would think, I mean, they've got the big screens, they can get information on the big screens. Liam, I think we're handing over to you.
Yeah, well, we think Stephen McLean's got his thumbs up. He's just having a look at his watches, and he gets the game underway. 4 minutes late, and it's passed all the way back to Richard Jensen for Aberdeen, who pings it up high into the air onto this near side, and the former Aberdeen loanee Liam Scales heads it out for a throw-in on this near side, which Devlin takes down the line for. He's just shielding it from Scales, but it bounces off him and goes out of play for a throw into Celtic on the near side. It's Kelleroos in goal for Aberdeen. Devlin, Gartenman, Jensen and McKenzie. We've got Shinnie in the middle of the park. He's got Barron and Polvara in there as well, with Phillips and McGrath supporting Miovski. For Celtic, it's Hart in goal. It's Johnston, Nawrocki, Scales and Bernabei. O'Reilly, McGregor, Bernardo, Abada and Palma either side of Kyogo, who makes his 100th start for Celtic this afternoon. And he's on the ball over there. He's got a good goal scoring record against Aberdeen. Rolls it forward, it bounces off Jensen, and out of play for a throw-in to Celtic over on that far side. I think they'd gone 1-0 up by this point last week, Packy, in the match against Ross County.
They did, and it was a perfect start, but they weren't able to build on it. That was the problem. Was it was a lacklustre affair.
Yeah, Killian Phillips gives it away, and then gives away the free kick right at the edge of his own box. In fact, Phillips lost it. It was Jensen with the challenge in the end. Or was it Phillips? Yeah, no, it was Phillips. It's a difficult one to see over there. Just having a look at that. Jensen was in close proximity as well. But he's chopped O'Reilly down, and that is a free kick. It's so clumsy.
Honestly. I know he's a young player and he's shown his inexperience there. He's under a little bit of pressure. He gives the ball away, which can happen, but then he reacts by bringing down the Celtic player who's in possession, and it's you're talking about 22 yards out at the angle right side, and an opportunity this early in the game for someone to stick it in the top corner. So, you know, the youngster's coming up in loan. It's not a very good start for him.
Yeah, first start for him. And our Celtic about to make him pay a heavy price here. O'Reilly is over it, so is Palma. It's O'Reilly with the left. It takes a deflection, goes behind for a corner, the first of the match for Celtic, but Killian Phillips will settle for that, the Irishman.
Yeah, could have went anywhere, just hit the man on the outside of the wall, doing their job, the wall of course. That's where he didn't get enough height in it to get up and over the wall, but it deflected off and give them a corner.
Aberdeen have everyone back to defend this. Palma in front of the tunnel on this near side, plays it short to Bernabei, back to Palma, rolls it to Bernardo, slips it into the penalty area. Jensen's the covering player for Aberdeen, he sees it behind calmly this time and gets a little applause from Stephen Garman from a small injury problem that kept him out of the Dundee game during the week to partner the Finn at the back for Aberdeen.
No test for Aberdeen. No, I don't know what you think, but you know, you get two set pieces. The first one's a poor free kick, the second one's a corner, and they play it short and they try to build it up and nothing. Instead of, I don't know, this is a fragile Aberdeen side. They've just lost their manager. Surely a tactic is put it on top of them and get them tested early on.
Absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth. Put it in there, test the goalkeeper, test the centre half, see are they ready to defend.
McKenzie elects to go all the way back to his keeper. Roos clears it first time. McGrath tries to get a flick onto it, but it goes out of play for a throw-in over on that far side for the visitors, who are on their best winning run of the season. Currently stands at 6. It's their best run since 17 wins on the bounce between January and April last year. And Scales knocks it back to his goalkeeper, and it's Hart midway inside his own half, short to Nawrocki. Get an extended run in the team just now with Carter Vickers out. Played almost 4 goalless minutes. Celtic on the ball. Pushed back to Alistair Johnston, who was last week's match winner. A play out to Alexandro Bernabei on this near side. To the touchline for Palma, level with Aberdeen penalty spot. Drops the shoulder, Devlin slides in and knocks it out of play for what I thought was going to be an Aberdeen throw. It's gone Celtic's way. Bernabei picks it up, looked like it took a touch off the Celtic player. Bernabei rolling it to the right hand side of the D for Johnston. It's picked up by Shea, read it well, and it's a really poor touch there by Jamie McGrath. And it's now Nawrocki playing it into the midfield for Bernardo. Yeah,
it was a good ball across to Alistair Johnson, who was in that space on the right hand side, but his touch was very poor and allowed Aberdeen players to crowd him very, very quickly and get the block in.
Palma skipping away from Polvara and switching it to Johnston, the inside right channel, out to the far side it goes to Lil Abada. Abada at the right angle of the box to the overlapping Johnston. His cross is cut out by McGrath. It breaks back to Abada though. Still inside the Aberdeen box. His cross blocked by McKenzie. Picked up by Johnston, then to Callum McGregor, who goes all the way back into his own half for Nawrocki. The game is settled into a familiar pattern here when Celtic come to town. And it's all taking place in the Aberdeen half right now, but Killian Phillips gets onto it on the far side and wins the throw-in for Aberdeen over in front of the south stand. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0.
I think it's expected, Liam, that Aberdeen are going to have to defend for a large part, a large section of this game. And I don't see any issue with it, particularly early on in the game. You know, there is fragility there, and the last thing you want, I would expect at home, is to lose an early goal to the champions. So I think, you know, being cautious is okay, but at some point you've got to be brave, as Peter Leaven had said, and, you know, try to get on the ball and actually try to dominate possession. Otherwise, you know, if you leave it just to Celtic, then they are going to do that, and eventually they're going to break Aberdeen down.
Brendan Rodgers has a 100% record at Pittodrie. He's won all 6 of his previous visits here. Different story in midweek though when he goes to Easter Road seeking his first victory in Leith. The Scales picks up and steps away from Polvara. He's under pressure, he's dealt with it well, he's dealt with most things well this season. Long ball, Nawrocki, Kyogo's got in behind. How on earth did he get that space? Jensen comes across, covers, clears, but it breaks to Abada. His effort saved by Roos. Palma's there though, and he sticks home the rebound, and Celtic lead on 6.5 minutes. It was itself, the long ball for Kyogo. He couldn't take advantage of it, neither could Abada. Palma does, and it's Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1.
Well, you did say that they scored in the first minute and the game against Ross County. It didn't take them long to open the count again. It will be checked to see is there any offsides or anything, but I don't think anything. But I can't believe the space Kyogo had. I know he's got great movement. I know that he will almost peel off you, but there was a massive gap for him. A switch from Scales across to Nawrocki. All he had to do is open up, lift his head and hit that there, and he was right in the top of the penalty box of Aberdeen. Bad touch, and he was lucky that it went to Abada, but that defending has got to be better.
Without doubt. I mean, it's a decent save from Roos. You know, when the ball struck at him, you know, but it does fall for Abada, who finishes it. I think Kyogo's okay. I don't think he's in an offside position, but there's a huge gap there, you know, down that side.
Is Palma offside when Abada hits the shot that Roos saves?
That is the question. Obviously, then a second phase play. You know, it comes back off the goalkeeper.
Technical issues, I would think, in terms of that. The ball's been struck and it comes off the goalkeeper. I mean, he's not interfering with play. Back it, he's way out, but then he is. Yes. You know, when he gets on the ball and he finishes it, he puts it in the back of the net. So there is a question there to be asked and answered, and we wait for that decision.
Yeah, it's being operated slightly differently. The fourth official today is Alistair Grieve, and he's down there with a set of headphones on, and he is the one who's in communication with VAR HQ rather than Stephen McLean. It is working, but there's a comms issue ongoing, so this might take a little bit longer than it normally does.
Yeah,
it normally takes a while.
It's going to be a situation there with VAR and how it's going to work properly. But in saying that, the question that remains, was Palma, he wasn't interfering with the first shot, it comes back off the goalkeeper, comes back into his line. Is that deemed second phase play, or is it part of the first?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a technical issue, and I can't answer that technical issue because the shot struck, the goalkeeper saves it. Yeah, when the shot is struck, he's in an offside position, but he's a way out wide, Packy. So you know, I don't know the rule that is going to be enacted here, and obviously I think the officials are struggling a little bit with it as well, because Kyogo, for me, is not offside. I think he's timed his run well. He's got a huge amount of space that he's run into, and then it's thereafter that they've got to make the decision.
Oh, no goal! No goal! And it stays 0-0. Decision made eventually. Offside is the decision, and it stays Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. And the Dons have got away with a massive one there.
Well, there you go. That's the answer to that question. I'm afraid I was unaware of the rule, but the officials have made their mind up that there's no doubt that Bada was ahead of all the Aberdeen players. There's no doubt about that.
No doubt.
But he's away out wide, and the ball's in, ricocheted off of Bruce into his path, and he finishes. Obviously an offside, so there you go, learn something new every day.
He was offside position when Abada struck the shot. As Paulo Bernardo comes down the left-hand side for Palma, thought he got his 9th of the season. He pulled it to the edge of the area here for O'Reilly, back to McGregor, and then he feeds it to the right of the centre circle for Nawrocki. Low ball out to Abada on the far side. 10 minutes in. It's Abada. It's a little reverse ball into the box, slid out there by Gartenmann.
Yeah, I do want
Celtic corner.
Yeah, there's a corner, and they've probably maybe taken fairly quickly. But you've got to go back to the defend and initial. You've taken the corner, we'll come back to it.
Yeah, quick corner, and then O'Reilly to McGregor at the right angle of the box, back out to the far side, touchline for Palma. He's got plenty of options in the middle, drills the ball in, and it's saved at the near post by Roos. And Aberdeen get it away, but this is just wave after wave of Celtic attack. Here's Callum McGregor out in that far side. Square ball for Scales. Scales rolls it to the left of the D for Bernabei. It's a chip ball, and it comes a header at goal, which Roos clutches onto underneath his crossbar. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0 on 11.
Yeah, no, just going back to the goal, you know, the initial, when that ball's played to Kyogo, somebody has got to be defending up against him, or at least influencing what he's doing. He ran right through the middle with a huge space, and then of course his touch wasn't great, and it comes to Bada, and he has the shot. But that's poor defending for a back four. You've got to be aware of.
I think the question is where Gartenmann was, Backy, because you know, it's into that right side central defender, and I think he's made a run forward, so he's taken himself right out of the game. Because it's Devlin that eventually tries to get back, and Jensen. So I don't know where Gartenmann was, but it's his area, and he should have been back there making sure that there wasn't the space there for Kyogo to occupy, but they've got away with it.
Nothing each here. The communication issue with the video assistant appears to have been resolved. The fourth officials come back to the halfway line as McGrath knocks it out to Miovski, left-hand side of the Celtic box. McGrath tried to push it back into the path of Miovski. It's cut out. Celtic dink it clear up towards halfway. Richard Jensen will let it go out for an Aberdeen throw-in. Bowling it forward towards McGrath. One back really well though by Alistair Johnston. He's back with Nawrocki, who was all the way back to Joe Hart. Little ball to Scales. At this time last year, Liam Scales really started to show what he could do in the second half of last season in Aberdeen colours. As Barron wins it in the midfield for Aberdeen, finds the American Dante Tovara. Goes back to McKenzie. Twists in field towards the centre circle, switches it to Gartenmann and out to Devlin on the touchline. Challenge from Bernabei. No foul, says the referee. Devlin's not happy. Here comes Palma. Down the left, it's brilliant from Palma. He's side to the deck by Gartenmann. And that's going to be a Celtic free kick, level with the Aberdeen penalty spot, left-hand side of the area.
Yeah, and Gartenmann maybe a little bit lucky to get away without a yellow card, because he's dived into that challenge. Don't know for too much contact, but he's nowhere near the ball, Packy. That's what I'm trying to get over. It's a poor decision from the Aberdeen centre-back. I don't know if there was contact, you know, and the referee gives it. But he dives in, and the ball is way past him when he's diving in, so he's putting the player off, even if there's no contact.
But he's gone down because he's had to try and ride the challenge. So,
lost his balance.
Yeah. Free kick Celtic, Palma to take, just a few yards from the near side touchline into the near post. It's dumped away by McGregor, and then picked up by Bernabei. He turns it to the left for McGregor. McGregor back out to the left-hand touchline for Palma, facing Barron. Plays it to the left angle of the box for O'Reilly, gives it back to Bernabei. The challenge from Barron, sticks with Bernabei. Barron slides in. It's at the expense of the corner for Celtic again as they continue to heap the pressure on that Aberdeen goal.
Yeah, they're dominating, aren't they? They're dominating these early stages, and I know what you could expect, but they are the home team. You would expect the stage to be putting Celtic under a bit more pressure higher up the pitch.
In comes the corner from Palma. It's headed away to the edge of the area. Bernardo trying to get onto it, and then shifts it back to Johnston in the centre circle. He finds Bernabei looking to slip it down the left-hand side for Palma. Just a little bit too much on it. Palma can't keep it in play. and that will be a goal kick. Possession-wise, I know it's early, 15 in, but it's 80% in Celtic's favour. And that, to be fair, is the kind of statistic they've not been too far off over 90 minutes against Aberdeen recently.
Yeah, it's telling at the moment, and if it keeps going, they will create chances. Yeah. That's the point. You know, how does Aberdeen get themselves higher up the pitch? How do they put Celtic under better pressure? How do they get the crowd into the crowd? Those are the things that they should be almost asking themselves at this point in time. You can't allow Celtic to dominate the game.
No, they've got to be brave and do get the opportunity. They've got to try and you know, dominate the ball a little bit. You know, I think that's the only thing they can look at. That's the only route for them to be able to take the pressure off themselves, because Rangers Celtic so far have been truly dominant.
You better get those clubs right, Willie. As Shinnie gets a throw in from Mackenzie.
I'm way ahead of myself. I'm thinking about Tuesday night.
Yeah, Aberdeen are at Ibrox on Tuesday. Even doesn't get much easier. Has to be said for the interim management team for Aberdeen. Celtic and Rangers back to back. Not ideal for them. Mackenzie takes the throw in. Polvara seems to be okay. Jensen back to Mackenzie, heads down the line. McGrath heads it infield. Shinnie with a header. Phillips tries to get something onto it, but it breaks McGregor's way. The Celtic skipper finds Bernabei. Is attempted pass forward, cut out by Polvara. Breaks back to Scales. Into the midfield for Bernardo. To McGregor. Low ball along the grass out to Alistair Johnston on the right. It's a long ping ball looking for Abada. What a pass it was. Abada tries to win the corner. Does win the corner off Mackenzie. It's Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. 16.5 in. Celtic's latest corner.
Yeah, it was a lovely little ball from Scales. Went up to Bernardo. Laid off. Back out to Naroski on that right hand side. And a beautiful ball played over the top. So they've gone almost from back to front in 3 or 4 passes and got their corner.
Celtic's fourth, right in front of the Celtic supporters over there. Palma takes as a header from Scales over the bar, and it stays Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. Liam Scales trying to score into the goal. He scored that spectacular one against Rangers in Aberdeen colours last season down at the beach end there. It will be a goal kick to the Dons.
It was well up, but I think he was always stretching for it, you know, from the corner. Decent delivery into the box, got himself a little bit of space, but couldn't keep it down, put it over the back. I think in the build-up, Jack Mackenzie's got to be more thoughtful. Packy, you know, with that long ball over the top of him onto Abada, he's got to give himself a little bit more depth and, you know, anticipate that Celtic might just bring it over the top of his head.
Ball's bouncing around in the midfield in the centre circle. Breaks to O'Reilly. He's managed to feed it out to the ever dangerous Abada, who's now facing Mackenzie, running to the byline. Abada pulls it back, blocked there by Jensen, and then cleared by Mackenzie. Long high ball. Miovski, lovely touch from Miovski initially, but he can't find Phillips, and Celtic have it back here. Barron trying his best to win it back for Aberdeen, but Johnston finds Kyogo at the edge of the penalty area. He runs into trouble. It's Polvara. He gets back, finds Devlin. He clears it up towards halfway. Devlin was caught by Kyogo just as the ball was cleared. A free kick to Aberdeen inside their own box. Nothing each.
Yeah, it's one of them where you know, a forward coming across the block, the defender striking, and whether he's caught him or he's kind of hit into him. He's kicked his Kyogo's thigh actually. You know. Yeah,
if you analyse it, it's probably a foul to Celtic because Devlin is actually in his follow through caught Kyogo round about hip high and went down. I don't think he really hurt himself. It's a soft part of the body as well, isn't it, where he made contact with the Celtic striker, but
all
you know,
part
the
of the
foul's
act.
given.
Foul.
Yeah.
All 6 Premiership matches taking place today again. Later, Dundee Hearts, Hibs St Mirren, Motherwell, Kilmarnock, Rangers, Livingston, Ross County, St Johnstone. Open all mics from 3. The big games in the Championship, the ones that are taking place today, of course, because of the Challenge Cup semi-finals being played this weekend as well. Ayr United, Dundee United going ahead at Somerset.
Yeah, just looking at Aberdeen, well, I don't know what you think, but obviously they've played every ball long. They haven't built really too from the back, and they played it forward, but they haven't won this first ball. Scales has come out on top, I think, in most of those high balls has played up there, and they haven't been able to get any control of the game because of that.
I don't think Majowski's that type of striker. You know, I don't think that you see too many occasions where the ball is played up to him. Maybe Phillips, who looks maybe about 6'2" there. He's a big lad. Maybe you could play it up to him.
Majowski has it down by the corner flag here. Covering across is McGregor. He puts it out for an Aberdeen throw-in level with the Celtic 6-yard line as the Dons attack the King Street Merkland Road end off to our right. It's Nicky Devlin over it. That was a little bit lax at the back there by Bernabei initially to allow Aberdeen in down this right hand side as Devlin takes the throw in into the Celtic box, headed away by Scales, and out it will go for another Aberdeen throw in, this time level with the Celtic 18. Devlin bowling it short to Barron, back to Devlin on the touchline, then to Garton. He gets it all wrong and fouls Bernardo. Celtic play on. Palma with a long ball for Kyogo right hand side. Jensen's the covering player for Aberdeen. Kyogo attacking the box away from a couple of challenges. Back comes McGrath, breaks to O'Reilly and then prodded half away by Aberdeen. McGregor trying to keep the attack alive. He's found Johnston wide in the right. Down the line he goes. Challenged by McKenzie and out for a Celtic throw-in. A player from each team is down. Kyogo is the Celtic player. I'm not sure. Is it McGrath? Yeah, McGrath actually a bit of a last-ditch challenge by Jamie McGrath, but Stephen Gartenman, Willie.
Yeah. You know, I think, you know, at this stage of the game, he's playing far too forward the park, and he's got quite easy possession, but he tries, you know, a little bit of skill, and I always worry when central defenders try a little bit of skill,
especially on the halfway line when there's nobody in the same colours behind him.
Exactly, and he's giving away possession, and that allows Celtic to play the diagonal, and Kyogo goes off again. He was never in control of the ball, though, Kyogo, was he? And eventually he does kick McGrath on this occasion, and the Aberdeen player went down, but he's up and he's okay.
Celtic have scored at least once on every visit to Pittodrie since December 2001. They thought they'd scored inside 7 minutes, only for Palma's effort to be ruled out for offside. Bernabei under pressure from Majowski goes back to his goalkeeper, and it's Hart playing it short to Nawrocki, then back to Joe Hart. Two Aberdeen players around them. The Celtic fans always a little nervy as Scales is challenged by Polvara, bounces off Scales and out for an Aberdeen throw-in on this near side, approaching the end of the first quarter, nothing each.
Yeah, if Joe Hart just deepened himself about 5 or 6 yards there, he'd be far better positioned to actually able to. He's timed then to pick his pass, kick it, but he always was too high up the pitch, and that was put him under pressure, and that's where the whole thing then fell down for Celtic in that little build-up.
A couple of 50-50s out there, which the fans are enjoying. Hartman's header forward to Majowski might be in an offside position. Celtic get it away anyway. It's picked up by Shinnie in the centre circle, rolling it to Devlin on this near side, firing it into the feet of Polvara, sliding in Barron. Now it's Phillips, loses out to Nawrocki. Wanted too long for the ball to settle. You're not going to get that sort of time in Scottish football. Well-known Crystal Palace man finding that out as Shinnie goes in, and Palma, and Graham Shinnie's going to be yellow carded here. And the challenge on Luis Palma.
Yeah, it was one of them kind of almost short passes, getting there, and he was never going to pull out of it, Shinnie. Yeah. Palma's just taken it away from him, and he's caught his trailing foot that was planted on the ground, and yeah, probably that's what.
It looks worse than what it is, really, isn't it? You know, but you know, Shinnie's got that aggressive manner about him, and you know, rushing into the challenge, the referee thinking he's a little bit out of control as well, and he does make contact. I don't think it was too much contact, but the referee decides it's a free kick and an opportunity for Celtic to throw it into the box.
Palma to take. Midway inside the Aberdeen half, drills at the edge of the area. It's a dreadful ball, and it's easily cleared by Polvara. In fact, Polvara dumps it out for a throw into Celtic on the near side. The set plays haven't been particularly good from the champions today.
He's one of these frustrating players at times, Palma, because he's got the ability to do it. He could put it in there, but if you actually look at the data around his crosses or free kicks and so on, it almost is 50-50 if he gets it right. It's very frustrating.
Nawrocki has gone in on Phillips over on the far side, and Stephen McLean goes to his pocket and books him. Mike Nawrocki.
Yeah, it's probably consistent in what he did with Shinnie. Yeah. You know, that's the problem. Once you book one, you know, you've got to then take action against the next tackle of similar case, and that's what's happened in that occasion.
Yeah, very similar, isn't it? The challenge, a little bit rash, a little bit out of control. for Nawrocki, and Phillips taking a knock there, and the referee, you know, again with the yellow card.
He came on early against Rangers, didn't he, Nawrocki? He looked really good. Really hoping to get a run of games now, but he's yellow carded, one piece, and that scores 0-0 on the scoreboard 25 minutes in.
Yeah, he looked good, but I think there was probably about 6 or 7 times he went to ground and got away with it. You remember, sliding
if you get it right, it looks
which
good,
is not the norm in the modern game.
Here comes Celtic down the right with Johnston, right hand side the Aberdeen box, digs the cross out, headed away by Hartiman, and Phillips with a sliced ball up high into there. It goes, comes off Scales, who nods it forward to Bernardo, goes back to Nawrocki, out to the right hand side for Johnston, faced by McKenzie, gets the ball into the box. O'Reilly looking to get it into the path of Abada. McGrath gets between the man and the ball. That's at the expense of Celtic's 5th corner of the afternoon.
Yeah, it's pretty much constant pressure for the Dons, and you know, I think they're doing a decent enough job in trying to close Celtic down in their own half. They haven't had too many opportunities to do that because Celtic have been in their half for most of this first half.
Out swinging corner coming up. Palma right in front of the Celtic fans again, over on that Celtic right. To attack the beach into the wind. The short corner, he's going to get it back. Palma here, rolls it to the edge of the box. McGregor takes a touch and shoots high over the bar. And it will stay Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. Callum McGregor couldn't resist the shot there when it's dropped to him.
Yeah, well, I think you've got to take it on, haven't you? He just didn't get over the ball and went high over the bar, but the space was there for him to exploit, and he's got that really good left foot on him, and he's got the technique that time. Just it was all about his body shape.
Celtic have it with Johnston, just rolling it back to Nawrocki, right of the centre circle. He switches it to Scales. Celtic trying to find a way through. To Johnston on the right. Taking his time over it, goes back to Nawrocki. He'll take it forward a few yards, slips it to his left for Scales, forward to Bernardo. Barron trying to stay with him. It's back with Nawrocki. Little angle ball out to the right hand side. Bada, but it's comfortably headed away by McKenzie.
Yeah, that's the situation we were talking about even last week with Celtic, higher up the pitch in the midfield area, where when the team set off them, can they get a player on the ball to open up and try a little ball through to Kyogo? It's a ball in, back out again, square and out wide, and I think they're just missing that little bit of inventiveness in that particular area higher up the pitch.
Yeah, the Celtic fans aren't really happy with what they've been seeing on display in recent times. They unfold a banner since the teams came out today to have a pop at the board. They don't feel Brendan Rodgers was backed enough as Phillips was high there on Scale. That's going to be a free kick for Celtic. And absolutely wiped him out. They're both on the deck here. And he just didn't look particularly gainly as he went in the challenge there.
I don't think there was in that, I'd be honest with you, because I think Scales was ducking, he was down low, and the players who can only, I don't think even see Scales coming, you know, and I think those are things that referees need to let go, as long as there's no injury, no malice in it.
Free kick Celtic. I think Stephen McLean is just receiving quick word from his VAR that no further punishment is required. The boot was high, but as Packy was saying, Scales was coming in at a stooping level to try and get his head onto it. Breaks to Nawrocki, to the left of the circle. Scales gets away from his former teammate Miovski, finds O'Reilly, tries to stab it through to Kyogo. It's cut out though, and then Aberdeen can't get a feel of the ball at all. When they do, it's a bit like a hot potato. They can't get it under control. It just seems to be bobbling away from them. It was Barron on this case, as Abada picks up on the far side, rolls it back to McGregor. And out to Johnston, level with 18. Right foot cross comes in, cleared by Connor Barron. Back towards McGregor. McGregor digs it out to Barnaby. Left of the D, out wide left of the box for Palma. Palma taking on Devlin. And then switching it back out to the right for Johnston. Celtic trying to find a way through, and comes the cross ball. Breaks to Palma, takes a touch and clips the bar on its way over. And he's holding his head in his hands. He knows that's a superb opportunity to break the deadlock. He was denied that goal on 7 minutes, and he really ought to have hit the target there in the 30th. It stays nothing each.
He's got to do better. You know, he's in a great position. The ball comes to me. The touch is quite good. Yeah, it's with his right foot. and then just clips it over the crossbar when he should be drilling that ball across the goalkeeper from the corner of the 6-yard box.
That's it. The other side of the goal. Yeah, Packy, I would think, from that. Because he's free at the back post. You know, a decent touch as well. He kind of leans back a little bit, but you would have thought with his quality, he would have been, he would have spied that gap at the far post and put it into it. Another opportunity for Celtic, but squandered.
That's Polvara up the line. Miovski chasing. Scales knows what he can do and gets there first and does really well to not just win the ball back for Celtic, but to manage to find his goalkeeper as well when he was sliding in on the touchline on this near side.
I don't like giving too much credit to defenders early on in the game, but you know, he's settled in so well into that Celtic team, and even his heading is improved. And you know, I did mention about him heading balls in this game with Aberdeen. He's getting power in them, and he's getting up high, and it's something that he's worked on. And you know what his ability again on the ball, he doesn't give too much away.
Bernabei for Celtic, forward it comes to Kyogo, gets the touch to Bernardo. Palma's in loads of space, left hand side of the box, takes a touch, shoots, deflected up towards the penalty spot where it's cleared by Barron, and Polvara takes it away. Another chance for Luis Palma. Polvara with the throw over on the far side. It's nothing each.
I don't think he kind of almost believed in himself there, because he took a touch and delayed and allowed the defender. He had all the time in the world to get across, and another great chance from on that left hand side inside the box.
I think this time though he's looking to play it towards the far post. At least he learnt a little bit from the chance just a couple of minutes ago, but it was a good block. I'm not sure if it was Devlin or Gap. Was it Devlin that got the block in? Good defended.
That's a couple of times though Devlin's perhaps not so much been caught out of position, but he's been dragged out of position, and Palma's been sneaking in behind him, and that was another example of it there. No damage done for Aberdeen yet. Celtic continuing to knock on the door. Scales goes back to Joe Hart in his box. He clears it out to that far side, next to Abada, into Johnston. Was under the foot of Bernardo. That allows Polvara to win it back. He gives it away though. He's claiming he was fouled, and the referee agrees. Bernabei's got his arms outstretched, wondering what that was for. 0-0 at Pittodrie.
There wasn't much in it, no. I don't think, to be perfectly honest. Polvara was just delayed a little bit, and Bernabei read it very well, just got in to ease him off the ball, but the referee said it differently and gave the foul to Aberdeen.
Celtic 5 points clear at the top of the Premier, having played more, as Polvara is adjudged to have used his arm control there. So the linesman gave that decision. Celtic have a free kick. Of course, it's of paramount importance to Celtic to win this game, with Rangers at home to the bottom side Livingston, who are without a win in 15 league matches. So you would expect that game to go one way today. It's given away by Celtic. It's O'Reilly this time. It's unusual for him, but then misunderstanding Team McGrath. Miovski, Aberdeen's two top goal scorers, and it was for a Celtic throw-in on the far side. Willie, they've not had much of the ball, Aberdeen, but when they have had it, they've made a hash of it.
They have, you know. There's a misunderstanding there, you know, with McGrath and Miovski. Miovski's won it in behind. For me, I think that is a ball that you should be playing, but McGrath wanted to play it to his feet. But you're right, it's been a difficult watch for the Aberdeen fans. I think the players are given, you know, a lot of energy to the game. The Aberdeen players is and working hard to try and break you know, the Celtic rhythm down. It's not been particularly successful, but yeah, whenever they get the ball, they've got to do better.
Polvara for Aberdeen couldn't slip it through. Miovski straight to Scales. That was a good chance. I mean, a better ball, and Miovski's probably in on Hart.
Just had a slide down the side of Liam Scales, and he hits it straight to him in a great position, and he got a little bit of space. Celtic give the ball away in the middle of the pitch. They were fought on that occasion, and Polvara was in a great position. He could have drove forward himself to commit the defenders.
Scored that fantastic goal for Aberdeen in Frankfurt at the start of their Conference League campaign. It feels like a long time ago now. Barry Robson no longer in charge here. McInnes, Glass, Goodwin, and now Robson, all ejected within the last 3 years. Less than 3 years. Here is Bernabei back to the halfway line for Scales. Out to the left for Palma. Palma steps in field, squares it to McGregor. He's in the pocket of space. Left-footed pass to Johnston. Abada to his right. Abada moves in field. Johnston uses him as the decoy, passes it back to McGregor, who squares it to Bernardo, and he rolls it back to Scales. Short ball prodded back to Bernardo, to Bernabei, out wide left for the man on loan from Benfica, Bernardo. Slips it infield to Palma, back towards Bernardo, comes to Bernabei, crosses in first time with the left foot, cleared by Jensen. And then Garteman down by the corner flag clears it onto the roof of the main stand. It's Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. We are just ticking into the final 10 minutes of the first half, but because of the lengthy VAR check that eventually ruled out Luis Palma's goal on 7 minutes, there'll be a good few added on to the end of the first half. 0-0.
I think Aberdeen will be happy if they get in at half-time with you know, level on no goals against. Celtic have dominated possession, but they haven't created a lot of chances. They've worked Aberdeen well to keep the ball off them and worked them across the pitch, but Aberdeen sat in there, defended quite well in numbers, and apart from obviously the goal that they lost, which was poor defending, they got away with it, but so they'll be happy to get in and almost have that chat about what the half's going to be.
Throw in Celtic, taken by Johnston, level with the edge of the D of the Aberdeen box. The Dons are able to clear. High ball up to halfway, the header from Nawrocki goes straight to Polvara. Nawrocki wins it again with a head into the centre circle. Palma got there ahead of Barron, and his ball forward finds Bernardo, and then to Johnston. To the right of the centre circle, it's Nawrocki. That's Bernardo and O'Reilly have switched places. They're quite difficult to distinguish between the best of times. Bernardo with the gloves on today makes it a bit easier as Palma finds the unhappy Bernabei, swings the ball in too high for Kyogo, headed clear. McGregor picks it up, short ball there to Johnston. Johnston rolls it with the side foot out to Abada. Johnston's there in support if he wants him, that's where it goes. He's down at the byline, he's to the right of the box, back to Abada. Slides the ball to Bernabei, first time forward, it's blocked by Phillips, but it's still inside the Aberdeen box. Eventually it's hoofed into the air by Jensen. There was a way to say safety, it wasn't really safe as Phillips goes down. No free kick, Celtic come forward again. Long ball headed clear at the edge of the area by Devlin. Bernabei losing out on Miovski, but his touch takes it out for a Celtic throw in on the halfway line down below us. It is goalless at Pittodrie here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland.
It is, Liam, and I think the Aberdeen players would like to see a little bit of the ball and be able to take part in this competition. The good news for the home side is that there's been no goal scored yet, and all the chances have been created by Celtic, which will be a relief to them. You know, a lot of energy being put into it, but it's a lot of energy basically chasing shadows most of the time.
We've improved the possession statistic slightly. It's
point what?
Still sub 30, and Aberdeen are on 28. It's Barron's challenge on O'Reilly. The ref didn't seem to like it. O'Reilly's back on the ball on the right hand side, rolls it to Abada, level with 18 to O'Reilly. First time low ball to Johnston, who crosses, comes off McKenzie, and behind for another Celtic corner.
Yeah, it's always like the perfect goal that Celtic are trying to create every single time. The pass, movement, pass, keeping great possession, but you have got to try to create that opportunity for somebody to have a shot or so on.
Short corner, the cross eventually comes in, it's headed away. It's only half away though, and then over the bar from O'Reilly. He just leant back there as he went to take the shot with the left foot, and it goes high over the bar, and it stays Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0, and the visitors are frustrated, Packy.
Yeah, they are. They're frustrated. Listen, that was a difficult one for him because it's coming down and he's tried to hit it on the half volley with the side of his foot, you know, and you've got to really get over the ball as much as possible, and it's just gone over the crossbar again. But it's another half chance for O'Reilly in that sort of inside the box on the right hand side. But yeah, lots and lots of possession, but I think it's 2 saves that Roos has, one from the goal that was allowed, and then the shot from Palma, I think, from a very acute angle.
Yeah, three shots on target. Hart comes to the edge of his box to clear. An offside flag's gone up anyway, which would have bailed Celtic out had that become problematic.
I think the problem with giving that as an offside is just let's play continue. Celtic have got the advantage anyway. They're in possession. Let the play develop. You know, it just stops the game.
McKenzie winning it off Abada on the far side. Here's McGrath coming forward, rolling it out wide left. McKenzie chops in field. looking for support. There isn't really anything yet. He has to go back the way to Shinnie, and then stumbles on the ball. Does emerge with it though. Under pressure from Abada, goes back to Barron. Long ball looking for Miovski. He's in behind, and Hart holds on anyway.
He was offside, and that's the one that kills me, to be honest, because there's a two. He's clashed with the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper comes, referee lace, but he was offside from where we're standing, right across the line.
No, I don't think he was. Just having a look at it there, unless the freeze frame was just a double freeze frame there. The first opportunity for Miovski to start his run, he looked on at that point, but yeah, he was never getting onto the ball. Hart hold on, and it goes out to play on this near side for an Aberdeen throw in, a bit level with their own penalty area, the edge of it.
My eyes must be going, didn't they?
They've been going for a long time back here.
You hadn't seen the replay, to be fair. Goes out to play, and Devlin bowls the ball up the line, comes off Bernabei, and out to play for a throw in to Aberdeen up by the halfway line. The final 5 minutes of the first half, Willie.
Yeah, it's been hard work for the Dons, that's for sure. You know, there's been chances created. You know, Celtic have dominated just about everything. Aberdeen haven't created one opportunity. They're struggling to get much possession as well. I think it would be a relief if they could have a little spell where they would be in top, you know, with the ball, and give them encouragement for the second half. But the good news for the Dons fans is that even although 4 or 5 chances have been created, none have been taken, and you know, they get a little bit of break. I suppose technically it is offside with the Celtic goal, but I think, you know, Peter Leaven will be looking for an improvement in the second half in terms of trying to make Celtic having to defend and having to think about the game.
Here's Jamie McGrath down the right hand side against Bernabei, gets away from him down to the byline, but runs out of pitch. That would be a goal kick to the visitors, 0-0.
Well, you know, he's up the park, McGrath. He's trying to hit the byline. You know, I think you take that as a positive step, because we haven't seen enough of that from the Dons, and that's a disappointing factor. Nothing came of it, of course.
A slip from Garteman. Kyogo's on his bike, driving to the edge of the box. His pass is cut out though. He breaks Polvara's way. Long ball, Miovski chasing. Scales is favourite to get there, and he does. Finds Nawrocki, who then returns it to Scales over the head of Miovski. Scales with a long ball forward, looking for Bernardo. The header away by Garteman though. Polvara holding off Bernabei. He's gone down, clutching his face there. Now, Polvara did have his arm outstretched.
I don't think I think there was an elbow in the face. I think it was purely accidental, Liam.
Yes, absolutely, but it's definitely caught him.
Yeah.
The Aberdeen fans booing Bernabei, but yeah, it did appear as though Polvara's elbow caught his nose unwittingly. Jensen turns it back to his goalkeeper, Roos. Short back to the Finland international over on the left. For Aberdeen, it's a long ball, looking for McKenzie in behind. Nawrocki's there though. He's able to hit it clear first time with the right foot into the Aberdeen half. Breaks to McGrath. Celtic have a man down. It is Bernardo. No sympathy from the locals though. It is Jensen. He goes back to his goalkeeper. We're on 43 minutes, nothing each. And Roos wants to take on Kyogo Furuhashi inside his own penalty area. Probably not the best idea. He manages to get away with it and get cleared out for a throw-in on the far side.
Well, you always know that Kyogo's going to close you down, and you've got to be sure. So before the ball comes here, you've got to have your mind made up. He hesitated and just allowed Kyogo to get in and get a little block on the ball, but it's gone for a throw-in down the left-hand side for Aberdeen.
You managed to see a replay, Willie, of the Polvara incident there?
I mean, it looked to me like a natural body movement, but his arms up, his elbows into the face of a Celtic player. So was it Bernabei that
it was
down? Yeah. So you know, there's no doubt there was contact.
There's McKenzie driving forward for Aberdeen. Now McGrath on the touchline, heading towards the final minute of the 45 of this first half at Pittodrie. 0-0. Garteman has it now, right of the centre circle, rolls it out to Polvara on the right hand side. Ball forward towards Miovski. A little slip by Scales, but he recovers sufficiently to get it away, and then Polvara gets onto a Garteman ball on this near side under pressure from Palma. Goes back to Garteman, who clears it first time. Collected though by Bernabei, who prods it forward here to O'Reilly. O'Reilly's done well, turns it out wide left for Palma. Kyogo's waiting in the middle, Abada's there too. In comes the cross. The little flick towards Kyogo. Up into the air it goes. Roos beats it half away. Bernardo chips for goal and off the crossbar and onto the roof of the net. And it stays Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0 in the final minute of the 45 of this first half.
Well, that was a huge chance for them. It was a lovely little play with O'Reilly first when the ball comes, some great feet to push the ball through for Palma, and then when he cuts back on his right hand side, it was that little dink over the defender, and he just got his head on it to allow the goalkeeper the opportunity to come and punch, but he didn't deal with it very well.
And
Bernardo had the opportunity just to kind of almost lift it over him into the goal, but it just goes about 6 inches out.
Yeah, but it's Garterman again diving in, you know, in the initial build-up of play. You know, it's down that Aberdeen right-hand side and the ball comes into the box. They're very fortunate again.
Keller Roos has just taken a goal kick and he's booted it straight out of play for a throw-in on this main stand side. It's breezy,
but time, I would say.
Yeah,
he had the wrong club. And he didn't.
You've seen a few of those in your time, have you, Packy?
Yeah, he shanked it, but he hasn't been hitting the ball or striking the ball very well in this game so far. So it's been a bad golf day for him.
Here comes Celtic. Bernabé, he's got it out to Palma, who again is in loads of space. Cuts infield towards the edge of the D, rolls it to O'Reilly, takes a touch and then twists back onto his right side, then slips. But even though he's on the deck, he's still able to find Johnston, who couldn't find Abada. Breaks off an Aberdeen defender. 3 minutes were added at the end of the first half, by the way.
I'm sorry, but Palma has got so many opportunities down this left-hand side. His first touch is always back in on the right-hand side to give defenders the opportunity to come and close them down. Go on your left-hand side, you're out on that side, the space is there, and drive forward, and then you can... You know, it's a simple ball across the goal or a strike on target.
Devlin under pressure from Palma, he can't get it away. It's Palma's causing havoc all afternoon here. Goes back to Bernabé. He switches it to Nawrocki. Celtic pinning Aberdeen back inside their own box. Little chip ball comes into the area. Chested down by Bernardo. Breaks to O'Reilly. It's deflected. It goes wide. It's a corner to Celtic. The last knock-ins of the first half. 0-0.
You're getting yourself mixed up with Bernardo and O'Reilly again. But I think it was O'Reilly. Bernardo very seldom gets himself into those positions, but O'Reilly does.
It was O'Reilly's shot, Packy. I said that.
Oh, did you say that? Sorry. Maybe I was getting confused. But anyway, and it is confusing looking at the two of them, but O'Reilly's the one that always gets into those areas, and he has ability. That time the deflection just took it by the post.
I've cracked it, Packy. Bernardo's got gloves on, and O'Reilly doesn't. In comes the corner from Scales. Phillips has a swing at it and gets nothing but fresh air. It's now going to be rolled back. Bernardo to Johnston. And he manages to get it out wide right for Palma, still out there having taken the corner. In comes the cross. It's been left by two Aberdeen defenders in the 6-yard line, then over his own crossbar by Devlin. It's Garton.
I think it was Garton, and how he managed to flick that one overhead. It's good defensive play. He's in a really awkward position. He could easily have found the back of the net himself. It's just pure luck, isn't it? Comes off the ground, hits him in the knee and goes over the bar. Another very dangerous cross into the box.
It was a great ball, to be fair, but Jensen just left it. Goes back to the edge of the box. Bernardo gets the break off Shinnie, goes for goal, blocked by Jensen, and the rebound's wide from Bernabé. They're wanting a penalty for handball there.
No, I don't think. Well, it's hard to see. We see it on the replay. He's going to bend down, and I think it's hit his chest. But Bernabé was in a great position. He just couldn't get the strike away properly on that left foot too, on his good side.
It's Jensen. He certainly motions towards the ball. We've got another view of it. The check is over. It's no pen.
Keller Roos then to take the goal kick, but we're beyond the 3 minutes that were added at the end of the first half. A goalless first half, which Stephen McLean brings an end to. Aberdeen's been hard work for them, that's for sure. Luis Palma has been Celtic's best player. He's had numerous opportunities. Bernardo hit the bar. Of course, Palma had the ball in the net on 7 minutes and was ruled out for an offside. He was in an offside position when Abada hit the shot at goal. Roos saved. It wasn't a great save, at least he kept it out, but it broke to Palma, who tapped it home into the empty net. But after the VAR check, it was ruled out for offside. Celtic dominating possession, as they have done against most teams, to be fair, in particular against Aberdeen in recent years. It's been constant streams of attacks plus 70% possession statistic as well. Aberdeen have barely been up the pitch. 8 corners for Celtic too, as they bossed things. Bernardo with that chance just at the end there, as he clipped it off the top of the bar. There was also a Palma shot which did likewise as well. So at half-time here at Pittodrie, Celtic with work to do if they want to stretch their lead at the top of the Premiership. It is Aberdeen 0, managerless Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0.
The Scottish Premiership.
From BBC Radio Scotland. You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. A very, very busy day ahead. A full card in the top flight. 3 games in the Championship. All the coverage on Open All Mics. We will also have online commentary from Ibrox. Rangers up against Livingston. Rory Loy has joined me in the studio. He'll be on VAR throughout the afternoon. We've been watching that first half come in. Rory, your thoughts on it? Just looking at the stats here. 72% possession for Celtic, 13 shots, none for the home side, 3 shots on target for Celtic, 8 corners, no corners for the Dons. Total control from their away side, but so far they haven't managed to make that breakthrough.
No, they haven't. And Celtic have had chances, a good few chances. The offside goal, obviously, Palmer's chance at the back post and round the middle of the half. O'Reilly had a chance as well, possibly a half chance, but when it's Matt O'Reilly on the end of it, you would suggest it's probably more of a chance than a half chance. And there was one where Gartenman slipped and Kyogo's running, bearing down on goal about 20 yards out, and I'm expecting him to shoot. He tries to pass it, maybe a sign of where his confidence is at times this season. He scored some wonderful goals from that range, and it opened up for him. But Willie won't want to hear this, but it's not dissimilar to the Jim Goodwin performance, which, he scored in the very last minute of the game, Celtic, but so far it's just been waves of attack. And I know Willie that day wasn't particularly happy with Aberdeen and felt that, you need to try and make more of an impact in the game, and this has mirrored that game to an extent so far. Yes, it's 0-0, but at some point Peter Leven's going to need to get some impetus in an offensive sense.
Yeah, Willie Miller and Pat Bonner on commentary duty for us this afternoon. Willie, would you agree with Rory there? This has got shades of that infamous game. It was McGregor, wasn't it, that scored right at the death in that game?
It's similar, Kenny. I think, if I cast my mind back to the Jim Goodwin performance, it was 5 at the back, and basically they just sat on the 18-yard line and didn't really press Celtic. This is slightly different in that Aberdeen have tried to press. They've tried to press high up the park, but it came to no avail basically, and the end result has been the same. Where Aberdeen are pinned back, they haven't seen any of the ball, they haven't created any opportunities, they've barely been in the Celtic half, and when they do get possession, then they simply give it away way too easily. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similarities to it. I would just say that the intent from Jim Goodwin was far more evident that Aberdeen were just going to sit and basically not really take part in the game. This one is a little bit better, but not much.
Well, I can just it's just a wee stat, Willie, that I've seen come into the BBC here. So Aberdeen are the first team this season. No wonder you won't be laughing after this, Willie. Aberdeen are the first team this season to go a whole half without touching the ball in the opposition box.
Right.
I mean, that's incredible, isn't it?
Well, it is incredible. I think that is a stat for a statistician, isn't it? I mean,
it's not one I've worked out.
Who's looking out for that? Yeah.
I should say full coverage of the Rugby come up, our opening game in the Six Nations. We haven't won in Cardiff for 22 years. So Wales against Scotland, that's a 4:45 start in Cardiff. There will be an option for that to listen to that commentary and the build-up later in the programme. So let's talk a bit about Celtic, Pat. Talk about the performance in that first half. Then I'd like to develop more about the recruitment policy and where you think Brendan Rodgers is at, because certainly to me he sounded very frustrated ahead of the game today.
Yeah, listen, the performance on the day is very good actually from a point of view of possession, movement, passing. They look very, very comfortable throughout the pitch, and they're working the ball at times even if Aberdeen do come out and press them, they beat the press and then they very quickly go from back through midfield to front, and that's when they looked really dangerous. Obviously when Aberdeen sits back, it's a difficult one because they have to try to break them down, and most of the play or the good opportunities came down Palma's side, and it was interesting. He had probably about 3 or 4 chances to go and drive forward on that left-hand side, and he chose almost, even when there was no defender near him, to cut back in on his right-hand side, and the opportunity was gone. And when he goes over onto the right-hand side, I think he came from maybe a corner, because that's why he was over there. He put a magnificent ball in across the 6-yard box, the one that was deflected over the crossbar, and that. So maybe why not try him over in the right a little bit to see, naturally, because he wants to play on that right foot, and he might get to the byline a little bit, and it might open things up for Celtic and create opportunities for Kyogo hitting that near post, and that's the only thing that's missing from the game today, is probably maybe getting shots on target when they had opportunities, and maybe creating a little bit more in that final third, especially in and around the box of Aberdeen. But they've dominated the game, and I think it's been a good performance. They'll be disappointed they haven't had a goal out of their showing in the first half.
Pat, where does the blame lie in terms of the recruitment? Because Celtic fans are absolutely furious that they haven't brought players in. They've been saying left back's been a problem area for a long time. Benabe's clearly not up to it. Lagerbielke signed in the summer. They were ready to get rid of him, but it was obviously that injury to Carter Vickers that means he stays on at the club. It's not been a good look for the football club, has it? The past couple of windows.
No, listen, I know you asked that question right before the game. It's difficult to expand on it a little bit, but I think there is confusion on who is in charge of, or who is the person now that will trigger a signing. Is it down to the window itself? January window is very difficult. They're going to go after the players that Brendan wants. They're probably playing. They're probably in teams, even if it's down in the Championship. Very hard to drag them away from a team if they're in it, if they don't want to get out, or you have to pay that extra.
But is that not the point, Packy, that they've got the extra money and they're not willing to do it?
I don't know if it's the point, but the point is that I'm just telling you the facts. The facts is that you have to pay over and above maybe what you would like to pay, and Celtic have never been renowned for paying huge money for players. They'll pay a decent amount, but normally the players that they get in are the players that's available, and you go after them. And in the market that Brendan wants, because Brendan's been used to down in the Premier Division, he knows the standard of player, but to get those players, you're talking maybe about 20 million of the player he wants. Celtic won't pay 20 million. There's no doubt about it.
There's a happy medium though, Packy. You don't need to go and spend 20 million on a player. I mean, it sounds to me,
to get the ones that Brendan wants you to.
Well, you maybe have more insight into the ones that Brendan Rodgers going after, but it sounds to me like he did have an understanding, by the way he speaks with the board, when he came in, that they would look at those next level players, or starters, for example. Now, whether that's 20 million or 10 million or 12 million, I'm not quite sure, but he's a little bit more careful with his words at times when he's talking. But it sounds to me like there was an understanding there with the board when he came in that they would go after these players. And I know he said that they did actually try and go for some, but they didn't get over the line, and that's not necessarily always the board's fault.
No, absolutely.
But in my opinion, there's a happy medium between 20 million and 3 million, and Celtic, to me, have the money to go and do that. So whether they can't execute one or two, that's fine. But I just think that it doesn't hold water to time and again come out the same. We couldn't quite get it over the line every transfer window.
No, listen, the January window, we all know, is a difficult window. That's the first point I was making. The second point is you can have the list of players, you can have your category A players, and it depends on the manager that you're dealing with, who's on that list, and then you can go after a player. But we all know when you get into that market, you've got to try and spend money, but it's not easy spending it, and you have to look at not just a fee, you have to look at the package. Does a player want to come? There's a lot around trying to attract the player. You can have a list of all the best players in the world, but trying to get them there is a different story. Normally, what in the January when you get a player who's not in a team, maybe wanting to get out to get games. Maybe you get him in on loan, which is done with Adam Ida and that. But that's a difficult window. That's the point I'm saying. I think probably they have to come out and say, well, who is the person that's in? Is it Brendan that is total charge? I think he will have definitely a say on it. Or is there another recruitment policy now within the club? And that's a bit just the confusion bit for me. And
well,
I think
let's ask Brendan
always
Rodgers
the
today.
question.
Let's ask Brendan Rodgers today. Who signed off on Lagerbielke? Was he involved in that? This is a player they paid a lot of money for, and then they're ready to get rid of him a couple of weeks ago. Of course
it could be him. Absolutely, it could be him. And that, you can ask that question if you're brave enough to ask that question.
I don't think he's going to say yes to that question. I mean, Brendan's an experienced manager. He'll know how to handle these questions. He'll know how to deflect. you know, the question was asked about his statement about you need to be a bit braver in the transfer market, and he didn't really, just talked round that question.
Yeah.
You know, that Tyrone put to him, because he's an experienced manager and he doesn't want conflict with the board, but he's trying to get his message out as well. Don't think he's a happy manager.
Do you think he sounded frustrated, Willie?
I don't think he's a happy manager. Yeah, I mean, I think he wants. You look at their bench. I mean, that's not a strong bench. Okay, they've got players injured and they've got players away international duty as well, but it's not a strong bench, so he can't be happy with that, and he's got to make his feelings known to the board, and I'm sure he is doing that behind closed doors, and he keeps throwing in little hand grenades, doesn't he, to the board as well. It's and then maybe backtracking a little bit, but that's what managing's about, isn't it? You know, it's about playing the game off the field as well as on it.
It's about risk versus reward as well. Now you bring in Ida, who I feel a bit sorry for because he's not kicked a ball yet, and the Celtic fans seem disappointed with the son, and you know, there's every chance he might prove everyone wrong. And you know, you look on Wikipedia and his appearances are dead high compared to his goals, but yet a lot of those are substitute appearances. He's got 17 goals and 39 starts. That's not bad.
I think it's to do with the Van Hooijdonk thing, isn't it? That a lot of Celtic fans thought he was their first choice. He goes to Norwich and then they get the guy shipped out of Norwich.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And that's a risk versus reward. Now, if Ida comes in and does fantastically well, it works well for them in that, you know, it's not cost them a lot of money. He's come in, you know, he's contributed goals to which Celtic will hope will win them the league and another domestic cup. But where I disagree with Packy slightly is, you know, I do believe Celtic have the money, maybe not at the high end of the Championship, of course not the Premiership in England, but I think they've got the funds there to go and put up a better fight to try and get someone who is starting games and who is scoring goals. And that's where the risk comes in, and that's where Brendan Rodgers is talking about being braver. Right, let's go and get somebody who's proven, who'll get the fans excited. Yes, you need to pay more money for him, but the chances of him being successful outweigh the lower fees.
I heard Brendan Rodgers speaking yesterday about Ida, and he was saying, the boy's got potential, he's a prospect. I'm thinking, but the problem with that part is, so what happens? Celtic develop at the end of the season and he goes back to Norwich.
Yeah, listen, for Adam, I'm not going to criticise Adam in any way, shape, or form. He's a young man, and he'd be absolutely delighted to come to a club like Celtic, huge club, and he's an Irish lad born in Cork, and so you know where his. Who he would support in Scotland, of course, and that's a dream come true for him. And he will come here and will probably enjoy the experience. What I don't want him to come here is sit on the bench and not get an opportunity. What's the point in doing that for a young man who's developing himself? And O comes back from the Asian. You've Kyogo. If they're going to play with one up front, they're going with two up front and give Adam Ida an opportunity to play. I want him developed, absolutely, because he's a lovely young lad too, and know him well and speak to him. And he's got potential and real ability. And I take the point, is that what Celtic fans want at this moment in time? Somebody to come in with potential, or do they want somebody to come in and actually say to Kyogo, I'm going to take your place because I'm good enough, I'm better, and that takes money. Of course, Rory, it takes money, and it takes somebody. Who are you going to get? Are you going to get somebody to come out of a team that's playing every week and come up and replace Kyogo and maybe not get a game?
No, somebody to push Kyogo, absolutely, Packy. I mean, I don't see any reason why Celtic, with the funds, as I said, they've got, to go out and put some bids in, see the market.
They probably have done that though.
Yeah, they possibly have. They possibly have, Packy. But for me, if you've got 6 months to work through a list, you should be able to get somebody in. And I absolutely agree with you. I'm not going to say anything negative about Adam Ida. He might come in and be fantastic. The boy's got to get a chance, and I'm sure he will. And I'm sure he'll do really well. Nothing against him whatsoever. As a fan of Scottish football, I want to see the best players coming up to Scotland, and they may have done that, Packy. They might have done it, but for me, there's got to be more of a push. I don't think that holds water over 5 or 6 transfer windows. It's fine if it happens once or twice, but it's been a long time now.
Yeah. Kenny, I think to finish this off, because the teams are out, I think the next window will be the telling tale.
Many times have we heard that though, Packy?
No, but I know that. But I'm from Brendan's perspective, he's in the door, last summer, and we expect him to come in and take in players. Of course, that's the thing. But we have to get the confusion of who's actually in charge of recruitment over the line, and that's what they've got to come out and say.
And that's what the fans want to know.
Yeah, that's the bit.
Yeah, and we'll get fan reaction later. Let's get back then. Second half commentary from Pittodrie, Aberdeen against Celtic with Willie Miller, Pat Bonner and Liam McLeod.
No changes for either team at the start of the second half, which Celtic will kick off going left to right in the green and white hoops. Aberdeen in the red and gold will shoot towards the beach end, which they traditionally do. in the second half of matches here. The wind's picking up. Stephen McLean gets the second half underway, and Celtic have it over on the left-hand side with Bernabei driving forward and finding O'Reilly, who knocks it first time low out to Palma on the far side, low ball into the box, and then eventually cleared by Nicky Devlin, breaks to Johnston, who turns it back into his own half for Nawrocki. Roos in goal for Aberdeen, Devlin, Garteman, Jensen, McKenzie, Shinnie, Barron, Polvara, Phillips and McGrath, and Mio. Hart and goal, Johnston, Nawrocki, Scales, Bernabei, O'Reilly, McGregor, Bernardo, Abada and Palma with Kyogo, as Aberdeen pick up a free kick for a foul by Johnston on McGrath down on this near side. I have to say, Willie, Jamie McGrath is playing in a kind of wide role today, and he's getting on the ball every now and again, but he's nowhere near as effective out there as he's supporting the striker, is he?
No, but you know, that's where Aberdeen struggle. They don't have wide players. You know, they're very thin on the ground when you look around the squad. You know, Duke can play wide, obviously. You know, he came here as a number 11. He's went off the boil completely this season. And I think when you're playing central midfield players and ask them to play in a wide area, it's alien to them, and you know, they're not creating opportunities. They're not looking comfortable. Certainly Jamie McGrath is not, and Barry on the other side kind of plays that kind of a wide, but not a wide player out hugging the touchline. It's an inward wide player that they're both playing, and I don't think either of them looks particularly comfortable. I think they want to be more in the park and supporting Majowski, and he needs support.
Free kick Aberdeen, McKenzie with it, long for Devlin into the box, flick from Polvara, goes straight through to Joe Hart, who holds on as we approach the end of the second minute of the second half.
But there's an example. If you want to get into the box and get touches, you've got to get support. They've had a diagonal ball from that free kick, and yes, it was headed on, but there was nobody following in properly to go and crowd around about Joe Hart. And Joe Hart had the easy task of just stepping off his line and catching the ball.
Shinnie down the right hand side, driving byline, and he's done well. Shinnie, is he going to win a corner? No, goal kick. Aberdeen still waiting for their first corner of the afternoon. In fact, they went through the 90 minutes against Dundee on Tuesday without a single corner in the match. Joe Hart will have a goal kick here to take.
I think they've touched the ball in the box though.
Yeah, that'll go down as their first touch in the penalty area, the opposition penalty area. Here's Johnston down this near side for Celtic, driving up towards half. He's away from Shinnie. Abada tries to give him an angle infield. Johnston looking to find Kyogo. It's a good effort with the pass, but Roos holds on to it round about the penalty spot. You can see what he was trying to do there. Johnston trying to arch that ball behind the defence, in between the goalkeeper and the striker, and it was just a bit too close to Kellaroos, who holds on.
Yeah, he picked up a good position. Kellaroos, he was 6 yards out when that cross was coming in, so he could defend that space behind his defender, and he did very, very well.
It's the third meeting between these two this season. Celtic came here and won 3-1 in August. And of course, there was an afternoon of embarrassment for Aberdeen as they lost 6-0 in Glasgow, as Devlin comes down the far side. Majowski chose to dummy it, and Celtic able to clear. Majowski dummying 6 yards from goal.
Yeah, I found that a strange decision. You know, I would have thought that he would want to try to get something on it and get an effort on target, on goal. You know, he obviously felt there was someone behind him, but there wasn't another player, and probably should have been well aware of that.
It's Jack McKenzie winning it back for Aberdeen on the near side. McGrath back to Jensen. Aberdeen see more of the ball in this infancy of the second half as Roos rolls it low out to Garteman on the far side. Tries to pirouette away from Kyogo, then decides to take him on again down the right hand side, and his clearance goes straight to Callum McGregor.
I think keep it a little bit simpler. Garteman has got to do that. You know, he's pirouetting in the ball. He did it earlier and he gave away possession. You know, I thought he would have learnt from that. He gives away possession anyway once he has 2 pirouettes, so he was just delaying the inevitable.
Dante Polvara picking it up on the far side for Aberdeen. Majowski's made a run ahead of him. He fires it forward to Majowski. He's up against Nawrocki here. Support arriving. Phillips is there. It's Bojan Majowski into the box, left footed. Scores! It's a wonderful goal for Aberdeen, scored by Bojan Majowski. The ball low through to him. He attacked the penalty area, took on Nawrocki and fires it with the left foot away from the grasp of Joe Hart. That could be a huge goal for all kinds of reasons here. It's Aberdeen 1, Celtic 0.
Oh, he's the man, is he not? A star performer. What a magnificent strike of Celtic. did have money, why did they not go and get him? A quite incredible strike from Majowski, right from the halfway line almost. He picks out the space, he shows the calmness, he takes the defender on, he gets it onto the left foot, and he drills it in to the side net and the far side net. A magnificent strike, first strike and target. Majowski goal.
Yeah, and Celtic gave the ball away with Bernardo high up the pitch, and he wasn't able to control it, give it away. It was a magnificent counter-attack from Aberdeen, exploited the space perfectly, and that man Majowski, what a brilliant finish. 1v1 up against Nawrocki, and he allowed him to, he just backed off, and then just couldn't deal with him when he came on the inside.
Bojan Majowski's 19th goal of the season. And it's a wonderful finish. And when he's attacking Nawrocki there, as soon as he saw sight of goal, you just knew he was going to find the net.
He just wrong foots him. You know, he dips the shoulder a little bit, and Nawrocki goes, and then he gets it onto the left foot, and what a magnificent curling strike. Sensational, absolutely sensational strike from Aberdeen's top man.
So Celtic have work to do. I said that at the end of the first half. They do now, that's for sure. Behind, Rangers' eyes all light up as well at the scoreline here at Pittodrie. And Aberdeen, of course, trying to kick-start their season. They want to first push towards the top six and then the European berths. A win over the champions here, and there's a long way to go. And what kind of resilient Celtic have. Yeah, a win today would be massive for them.
Yeah, you know, they give the ball away when they're in an attacking zone high up the pitch, and then of course the support behind the ball, people are out of position, and Aberdeen exploited Aberdeen's first real opportunity on goal, and they end up scoring. So that's an incredible turn in this game, but it puts a challenge up to Celtic now, and it'll be interesting to see, have they got anybody off the bench? Will Adam Ida come on? They're the questions.
Well, I think it's a question for Aberdeen. They've now got their nose in front. You know, they've went through that first half, really been under pressure, constant pressure. They've worked extremely hard. They've got that little bit of magic from the main man here at Pittodrie, and now can they go on and actually do better in the second half? Will that give them a lift? Will that give them a little bit more belief to take Celtic on?
Brendan Rodgers has won more games in management against Aberdeen than against any other opponent. 100% record at Pittodrie, but his team is behind here, and Aberdeen have an attacking free kick from the left, but just swung into the box and beaten away by Hart. Offside flag was up over there on the south stand side. Shinnie crosses it in, but the whistle had long gone, and Aberdeen have the lead on 53 minutes.
But it does show you, you know, you can have all the possession in the world, you know, if you don't score, you don't exploit it, and then the opposition just hits you on that counter attack. And you know, it'll be interesting if Aberdeen went on to win this game, and when you look at the stats, you would be saying, how did Aberdeen win that game? Would have
well, we know why they've won it back in. I've been saying it all season. It's Majowski. He's the man. He's the one that turns games for Aberdeen. He's the only one. McGrath's had, you know, chipped in with a few goals as well, but he's a top quality striker. I don't know how many times I've got to repeat it, and if there's top clubs up out there that don't have a recruitment team looking at him, they're not doing their job properly.
Stephen McLean wants to speak to Jamie McGrath, who felt he was fouled down on this near side. So did the Aberdeen supporters around us in the main stand. He's going to be yellow carded as well. I presume that's for dissent. Alistair Johnston was the Celtic player who was challenging him. It's a Celtic throw. McGrath booked, and it comes back to Nawrocki, who plays it to the left of the centre circle for Scales. Scales rolling it low to Bernabei on the far side. And back to Scales it goes. And then to Hart. There's a new zest about Aberdeen since that goal. The energy levels, they're playing further up the pitch as well right now. And then Majowski's fouled by Nawrocki, who's already been booked. And it's going to be an Aberdeen free kick wide on the left-hand side here. Majowski just seemed to come from nowhere to get himself onto the ball there. And he's brought down by Nawrocki. And I think Graham Shinnie's making the point that Nawrocki is on the yellow card, and perhaps he should have been issuing a second one there.
It should have been. That's a yellow card. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt about it. I don't think VAR doesn't get involved in yellow cards, but in my book, you know, Nawrocki has went in. He's went in late. He's caught Majowski round about the knee, nowhere near the ball. Majowski's having a word with the referee, and rightly so. I think he's battled it. That's a yellow card, and it's a second yellow card.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, he's very, very lucky. He's very lucky that he didn't get a second yellow there. He could have deepened himself a little bit better. Joe Hart passed it out to him when he should be hitting the midfielders. They play out of the back. They're closed down. His touch isn't brilliant, and he ends up putting himself in that sort of kind of situation where he has to make a decision: do I go and try and get a second touch on the ball, or do I take the the striker out? And he did, and he's lucky, very, very lucky.
Aberdeen have another free kick out on this left-hand side, level with the edge of the D of the Celtic box. They have a 1-0 lead. They're looking to add to it here. Barron bends the cross in. Kyogo only half away. McGrath hits it. It's blocked. Breaks it. Shinnie. Oh, it's blocked again. Well, Celtic living a bit of a charmed life all of a sudden at the back as Aberdeen double their lead, and they've won a throw-in over on the far side. They don't enjoying what they're seeing now.
That's more like it, isn't it? They've got a responsibility to try and turn this game round. They were under all sorts of pressure in the first half. They didn't really compete other than trying to make it difficult for Celtic. They've got the goal, they've got a new belief, a lease of life that really could have made it two opportunities for Aberdeen. That's more like it, I would think, as far as the Aberdeen fans are concerned, Liam.
Long throw into the box. McGrath eventually goes down over on the far side. Celtic goal kick though. As it goes over the line, Brendan Rodgers is going to make, I think, 3 changes here. His team 1-0 down. And Adam Ida's one of the players who is going to be making his way onto the pitch. It will be a debut for him. Nicholas Kuhn and Anthony Ralston are the others. O'Reilly facing his own goal goes back to Nawrocki and then to Hart. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 0, almost in 57. Here's Liam Scales on the left-hand side. The live table has Aberdeen in the top 6. It is Celtic 5 points clear of Rangers. But as it stands, Rangers have 2 games in hand, starting this afternoon against Livingston in Glasgow.
I tell you what, Liam, I'm watching Killian Phillips there. He'll need the rest of the week off. He's done nothing but put the Celtic players under pressure. What a shift he's put in. I don't think he can last the full 90. Scales
for Celtic, short to Kyogo. Celtic have Aberdeen pinned back, really for the first time in this second half here. Scales short to Kyogo. To Palma, misunderstanding though, gives it straight to Phillips, who gives it to Devlin, who goes back to his keeper, and Kelleru sits it first time with the right foot. Majowski chasing, Nawrocki facing his own goal, has to be careful and deals with it and puts it out for a throw-in. He's spooked by Bojan Majowski, that's for sure. There's a pass back to Hart, might have been the option, but he's put it out for an Aberdeen throw-in level with the Celtic 18. And Packy, Brendan Rodgers is going to make a triple change.
Yeah, he didn't trust his goalkeeper here, did he? To knock it back. The ball was bouncing a little bit. He just took the safe option, which is probably a decent enough decision because he was getting close down. But yeah, Adam Ida's going to come on. That's the big one. Is it Ralston's come on for Barnaby, and Kuhn is also coming on, the other new player that we've seen a little bit of last week against Ross County.
Bernardo coming off, Bernabehi coming off, as Packy was saying. And on comes Adam Ida to support Kyogo up front. And Liel Abada, who's been quieter than I've seen him at Pittodrie in the past. He is going to come off to be replaced by Nicholas Kuhn, who arrived from Rapid Vienna. The German comes on. So Brendan Rodgers not happy. 3 changes before the hour mark. Well, his team 1-0 down.
Yeah, normally that used to happen with Ange Postecoglou, but they were always in a position of strength, and it was always maybe a group of players with real calibre coming off the bench to give them a real impact. And now the challenge will be for Kuhn and Ida and those. Can they make an impact? Can they come on?
Corner here to Aberdeen. There's a throw-in which bounced off Johnston and out for a corner kick. Johnston felt he'd been fouled there. Aberdeen's first corner comes in the 60th minute. And they have a 1-0 lead to be taken by Barron right in front of the tunnel. Richard Donald stand in. Stephen McLean, the referee, having a word with a few of the players inside the box. And now Barron will take his corner. What can Aberdeen do with this? And it comes, floats into the box, and an Aberdeen player down. Shinnie rifles for goal. It's blocked. There's still appealing for a penalty as Miovski picks up wide on the right-hand side. Waited too long though, and Celtic win it back over there. And it's Kuhn back into his own half, where it's cleared by Ralston towards halfway. Ida's header goes straight to Barron, slips it forward to Shinnie, but Kuhn wins it back for Celtic, but Polvara instantly wins it back for the Dons. Here's Devlin, rolls it to McKenzie, stabs it infield to Barron, and as this to flick it back to McKenzie, who finds Devlin, who dinks it down the line, but it's out for a Celtic throw-in. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 0, the final half hour of the 90 here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Celtic have gone with the two up top with Kyogo and Ida. Kyogo, of course, will have a little bit more license to move around and drop off into little areas now. But that's kind of a change of formation, really.
But Aberdeen have got something to hold on to now and playing extremely well.
And Phillips for Aberdeen, he's going with an ambitious effort, which, it's so close! Just from goal, that almost looped into the top corner. He's going to come off, but would have been at that gone, and it's just gone past the right post.
He's not far away. It would have been a magnificent goal, wouldn't it, from Killian Phillips. He's getting a standing ovation. He's been absolutely immense with his work rate, you know, throughout that first half and into the second half. If that one would have sneaked in over the top of Hart, what a strike that would have been.
That was a brilliant effort. He just dipped his shoulder, created a bit of space, seen Joe Hart off his line, and the conditions always up here at Aberdeen, I could have swirled in with the one. It was a beautiful effort from him. Yeah, he does deserve a standing ovation, even for the work rate, but for that effort coming off the pitch.
He's replaced by Leighton Clarkson, Aberdeen's number 10. Here's Ralston playing at left back to Joe Hart, who fires it straight out of play for a throw-in on the far side.
Oh, they're rattled. Celtic are rattled.
They're 1-0 down, haven't lost here in exactly 8 years. It was the 3rd of February 2016 when Aberdeen last beat Celtic at Pittodrie. The longest winless run against Scotland's champions as it stands. Celtic have won the last 9 in a row. If they made it 10, it would be a new record. And here's Clarkson trying to get in behind, but Hart comes out and gathers. He just managed to spin off Scales, but the ball had too much on it, and it's through to the Celtic keeper.
What a transformation, though, from Aberdeen in the second half. You know, the goal is, you know, immense help to their confidence and their belief, and they're making it really difficult for Celtic.
Yeah, but here come Celtic up the other end. Kuhn just slipping it to the edge of the D for O'Reilly. Back to Nicholas Kuhn, looking to get a shot away. It breaks to Ida, then to Kuhn, who shoots deflected. Goal! Celtic level! Nicholas Kuhn scores off the bench, and within a few minutes he levels proceedings here at Pittodrie. It's a huge one for him, his first for the club, and it brings the champions level in the northeast. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
Yeah, comes to him, he uses good control initially, gets away, and then eventually Ida puts it into his path and he takes on the strike, and unlucky for Aberdeen, but for Celtic it takes that deflection past the goalkeeper into that left hand corner to put Celtic back in this game. They haven't been in the box for a while.
They haven't, not in the second half, you know, and they looked rattled, didn't they? You know, giving the ball away, but under no pressure whatsoever. But Brendan Rodgers, experienced manager, makes the 3 changes, 2 of them combined there to get the equaliser. You know, so they went from being rattled to get back into this game.
Yeah, and they were helped by Ross County last week. Similar story here, 1 apiece. Celtic get back on terms. We have frustration for Aberdeen because Celtic had been struggling. They didn't have the same control on proceedings before that. Little dummy from Clarkson. Here's Miovski's at the edge of the box, winding up the left foot again. This time he's closed down, and Celtic get it away. Kyogo picks up, slips it forward here for O'Reilly, who slips himself, but he's managed to regain his composure. Finds Johnston, McKenzie slides in, and out of play for a throw-in on this near side to the visitors. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
Yeah, it's a good game now, isn't it?
It is.
You know, Aberdeen, to be fair to them, have come out and they've put Celtic under pressure. Celtic were struggling a little bit there. Now they've got their composure back by getting that goal, and now they're on pushing back into their own defensive third.
Ralston inside the box trying to get away from Shinnie. Gartenman helps his teammate out forward to Polvara, who can't control. There's Callum McGregor. So often Celtic's driving force. Plays it out to the left-hand touchline for Ralston. Back to McGregor. Ralston then pushes it back to Palma. Celtic trying to get back in their stride here. Johnston to his right for Kyogo. He's got McGregor as an option again. McGregor under pressure gives it away, and Polvara can dig it out for Aberdeen. Miovski chasing, Nawrocki clearing though on the halfway line. Johnston finds the Celtic goal scorer, Kuhn, on this near side. And he turns it back to Callum McGregor, switches it to Ralston, back to the edge of the circle there for Scales. Then McGregor to Johnston, he's got runners ahead of him. Johnston to Edat, little touch now, O'Reilly's in! Oh, it's either hit the keeper or the post. It's the keeper, so it's a corner, so Roos saves it with his foot. And it goes behind for the Celtic corner on this near side.
Yeah, I think it hit off the post, a deflection again off the defender. We haven't seen the replay yet, but...
There's Kuhn, gets the cross ball in from the short corner. McGrath flicks it away. Gartenman completes the clearance. Kyogo picking it up at the left angle of the box, looking for space to shoot. He does, it's blocked by McKenzie. Miovski coming away with it for Aberdeen. Runners ahead of him. Clarkson's one of them. Miovski looking for him. As he managed to get him in onside, Clarkson's in on Hart. Saved by the goalkeeper. The edge of the box comes to McKenzie, who lashes over the bar. Flag goes up anyway, and it stays Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1 on 66.
Yeah, I think he just straight offside for the initial pass, yeah. And that, but Joe Hart slipped him again and made a big save, but he was just offside.
Miovski, I felt Miovski had to play the ball earlier, Willie.
Yeah, a little bit earlier, but after that magnificent goal, we'll maybe let him off with it, Liam.
There's McKenzie flicking forward. It comes off the head of Johnston though, forward. Kyogo looking for Ida. Jensen wanted his keeper to come. I think the goalkeeper was right to stay where he was. There didn't seem to be enough pace on the ball, and Jensen turns it out for a Celtic throw-in level with the 18. Kuhn to Johnston, back to Kuhn on this near side. Left-footed ball isn't great. Cleared by Barron on the 18-yard line. Here's Miovski, forward to Clarkson. Clarkson just got away from him. Celtic with Scales gets it clear into the Aberdeen box where Roos holds on. Bowled out to Polvara. Devlin goes in the overlap. Polvara moves infield, then turns it with the left foot to the right-hand side for Devlin. Driving forwards, an early delivery. Nawrocki clears half away, and Joe Hart saves the shot to the edge of the penalty area, which was a decent hit as well from Barron. And it stays Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Final quarter of the game. It's lit up here at Pittodrie, that's for sure.
I mean, it just is a game of football now, isn't it? You know, two teams going at it. Devlin, this occasion, being prepared to get forward and putting in a really good cross. A ball coming out, I think it's poor defending from Nawrocki, and Barron striking it. Unfortunately for Barron, it's just straight at Joe Hart, isn't it? And eventually an easy take.
There's Kyogo for Celtic, moving towards the edge of the penalty area. He's on the hand side now, he's still going, he shoots, it's blocked, breaks to Palma on the volley, saved by Bruce and clear by Barron. Flag's gone up again on this near side, so it wouldn't have counted once more. The flags just seem to get later and later. It's Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1 here in the early kick-off at Pittodrie.
Yeah, that little change of the two up top has actually helped Celtic.
Absolutely.
Has given Kyogo a bit of a licence to go and get on the ball, and that was a beautiful little run from him, lovely dinky run. But Ida's then the one that's sort of occupying the two centre halves, and he's the one making the little runs, and I think it works quite well.
It's not fashionable anymore to do the two striker thing, because if you think when Celtic had Giacomakis at the club, he's probably been the best understudy to Kyogo so far. Wait to see what Adam Ida does.
Yeah.
But surely times where they should have played those two. I mean, far be it for me, given Postecoglou won so many trophies. But can you imagine the problems that having those two up front in the same team would have given?
Yeah, I think most managers like to have three in midfield now to try and dominate the ball and work the ball through the thirds of the pitch at times and so on. But sometimes when you have the two up top, you can go a little bit more direct.
Yeah.
You can play it up and get the other striker around the face or running beyond it, and the midfielders can get back up. You don't always have to go through the midfield area.
And Ida looks like a target man as well, doesn't he? I mean, he's a big physical specimen there. You know, a couple of occasions he's laid little passes off as well. You know, got a good touch too. I was going to say won the ball in the air, but he missed that one completely.
Miovski picking it up against Scales. And there's no teammate to pass to, so Celtic eventually free round them to win it back. And Nawrocki turns it out to Johnston on the near side, out to the touchline for Kuhn. Faced by McKenzie. He's got Johnston down the right if he wants him. Instead he moves in field. His attempted switch out to the left blocked by Shinnie, and Polvara gets there ahead of Ralston and leathers it clear into the Celtic half. Almost on 70 minutes here. Sports Sound, BBC Radio Scotland. We're with you till 7 every Saturday. This is no exception today. Open all mics to come at 3. And we've got lots of midweek action, a full card of Premiership games over the Tuesday and Wednesday nights. Aberdeen are at Ibrox, Celtic at Easter Road, Tuesday, Wednesday respectively. McGregor's in trouble. Shinnie wins it back. Clarkson has it left hand side of the box, pulls it back for Shinnie, and his shot saved by Hart. He's got to score, he has it. Miovski was waiting in behind him as well, and chances do not come better than that. Celtic, it stays 1-1.
Just huge, isn't it? It's a huge chance for Aberdeen. You know, Celtic totally open at the back. You know, Clarkson, what a lovely little cutback from Shinnie. Everything perfect to pass from the Shinnie finish, although Joe Hart spreads himself well. It's a good save from the goalkeeper, but the Aberdeen skipper should have made it too.
Yeah, you know, Joe Hart kind of read that situation. He can almost left it, slide it down my left-hand side, and then he just goes with the body and the big leg, that sort of 5-point save, and comes out on top. What a big save from Joe Hart. That was a massive opportunity for Aberdeen.
Not just today, that save could be massive come the end of the season if Celtic leave here with all 3 points. Kuhn with the ball, just outside the box. Ralston trying to chest it down for Ida. It's cleared by Aberdeen. Miovski with a little cushion head. Fires it towards Bojan Miovski down the left, and again Celtic are stretched at the back here. Clarkson's coming in at the back post area. Miovski's inside the box now, looks up, pulls it across. It's cleared by Scales on the 6-yard line. But once again, Celtic slashed up and way too easily for Brendan Rodgers' liking.
I tell you what, Willie, Navarowski is scared of the pace of Miovski.
Yeah.
And he's every time he just peels off him, and he can't deal with him then when he gets the ball.
Celtic come forward now. It's going from one end to the other all of a sudden. O'Reilly back to McGregor. Forward to Palma, disguises the ball, knocks it through to O'Reilly, but it just bounces off him. And behind for a goal kick. Celtic will go hammer and tongs for the victory. A draw's no use for them today. The gap at the top, 5 points. Graham Shinnie still reliving that chance.
Yeah. But the thing is, Celtic have left himself open at the back. Naroski's not up for it. He's not up for the 1v1, I'm telling you. You know, Miovski's drifted away to the left-hand side here, and he's just let him run. And you know, Naroski's then, you know, making a beat towards the near post rather than getting out and trying to contest the ball with Miovski. He should be out there. He should be making it 1v1. He should be making it difficult for the Aberdeen striker, and I just think it's fair.
I think he's getting hooked. I think he
wants to take
Willie.
part. I don't think he wants to take part. He should be off the park anyway. In my book, it was a second yellow. He's still on, and if he does get hooked,
yes,
I don't think we're going to be surprised, are we?
Yeah, has to be. Stephen Welsh is coming on.
Yeah, and you know, he's obviously coming back from injury too. You've got to give him a little bit of credit on that one, but he's
here comes Celtic. Palma and then Ida down the left, turning it back to Palma at the left angle of the box. Kyogo waiting in the middle, so's Kuhn, the Celtic goal scorer. It's back with Ralston, infield to O'Reilly. Back to Ralston, Aberdeen pin back here. Palma forward, it's cut out by Shinnie, who gets it away with the right foot. It's a good clearance. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1, 73.5 on the clock. It's with Scales, at walking pace, up towards the halfway line. Goes unchallenged so far. Out to Palma, first time. Forward to O'Reilly, wanted too long on it. Gartenman wins it back for Aberdeen. Polvara rolls it into the middle there for Barron. Barron will just turn it back to McKenzie. McKenzie out to Connor Barron on this near side. Forward to Jack McKenzie, into the Celtic half he goes. Fancies his chances here, driving forward. McGregor sticking with him, in comes the cross. Clear by Navrotski, out for an Aberdeen throw-in down by the corner flag on this near side. One apiece. 16 minutes left of the 90.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do if you put your mind to it and have a little bit of confidence and be prepared to take the game to the opposition. You know, Aberdeen just simply didn't do that in the first half. There hasn't been any magical change to the formation, just a change up in the headspace of most of these Aberdeen players.
McKenzie's cross comes in, but it's a comfortable take for Joe Hart at his near post. Stephen Welsh waits on the touchline to come on. Long ball forward, Palma takes it down well over on the far side, up against Devlin. Thought about the early pass, checks his run, looks to see what the options are, cut out by Shinnie. Breaks Ralston's way, infield to Palma, back into his own half for Scales. The clock ticks on to 75. Here's O'Reilly out to Kuhn on the right, up against McKenzie. Level with the Aberdeen 18-yard line. And goes back the way to Nawrocki. Squares it to Scales. Celtic have everyone bar Joe Hart in the Aberdeen half here. Aberdeen win it back, they're in trouble, and they've had plenty of warnings of that. But here they come. O'Reilly to Kuhn on the right-hand side of the box. It's away from McKenzie, and then he slips on the ball, and that allows Jack McKenzie to clear. It was good skill initially by Nicholas Kuhn, as that's cleared, and Nawrocki's kept that in play, knowing next time it goes out, he's off. Yeah, Scales picks up in the centre circle.
I'm just thinking, well, here's a chance.
Long ball towards Kyogo. Garteman's underneath it with a header. One back by Ralston. He's at the edge of the Aberdeen penalty area here. Rolls it with the right foot to Palma, level with the penalty spot. Swings the left foot cross in. It's too deep for everyone in green and white though. And it's picked up on this near side by Kuhn. Good skill to get away from Barron. There's Johnston. The ball in, saved by Roos down low, with Ida waiting to pounce. And it comes off Miovski and out for a Celtic throw in on the near side. It's back to big spells of Celtic domination here, but Aberdeen always a threat in the counter. Off goes Nawrocki, on comes Welsh.
Yeah, we're not so that change, but just on Kuhn, he got the ball earlier, and he just checked back. He gave the ball back to the midfield centre halves, and I seen Brendan Rodgers out, and I was going through my mind, go and take the full back on. Then the next ball comes to him again, and then he goes and takes one and nearly does something with it. That's what it should be in the mind of every winger for me. First time,
it looks good.
Go and take on.
Yeah, looks good, looks positive as Aberdeen make a change. They're going to take off Dante Polvara and Willie. They're going to bring on Duke.
Well, step up to the plate, Duke. You know, that is a statement from this packed Aberdeen crowd here. He's done virtually nothing this season. He needs to get his head sorted out. He needs to produce the form that he was showing last season, and there's not a better stage here at home against Celtic to turn it on.
Look, he might have been away on deadline day, but he's on the pitch. Looks a bit leaner now as well, Duke. As Ralston plays it infield to McGregor. It's 1-1. Celtic desperate for all 3 points as O'Reilly overhits the pass for Johnston, and it goes over the line for an Aberdeen goal kick. They try to feed Johnston in on the right hand side of the Dons box.
So the last thing you want to do is overhit it in that position, Packy, isn't it? You know, if you just keep it in the park, then the defender, and it wasn't a defender, it was Duke that was going to have to deal with it, as well as Johnson was trying to hit the byline. Then, you know, he's got to deal with it. So, you know, and it wasn't just, you know, marginally, you know, out the pitch. It was well out the pitch.
If you were doing that early in the game, you would say, okay, given the benefit of the doubt. But when you're at this stage in the game, you're into the game. You know the pace of the pass, and it was so overhit. It was frightening.
Here's Duke getting his first touch on this near side. Back to McKenzie. He decides to go back into his own half. To Jensen, long ball. Clarkson, Welsh has his eyes on it. Clarkson was the target as Celtic clear. McGregor up to halfway. Ida flicks on, but Jensen's there into the centre circle. McGrath with a little flick for Miovski. He goes back to Shinnie on that far side. Shinnie out to Clarkson. What a chance it was for Graham Shinnie to potentially win this game as Clarkson crosses in. It's a poor delivery though. It goes straight through to Joe Hart, and it stays Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
Yeah, he did 2v1 and against the fullback there, and he elected to cross the ball from a fairly high up position, and I think it would have been better if he just slid in. I don't know who it was that was overlapping. It must have been the fullback, but certainly was a better decision needed.
Oh, that's an important interception there by Garteman. He was facing his own goal there. It was almost like a scissors kick clearance with Kyogo lurking. It's Devlin dinking it away, and now it's with Clarkson. Looks to switch it to Duke, but it's gone straight to Johnston for Celtic. Johnston comes forward, slips it out to Kuhn, wide in the right of the Aberdeen box. The new Celtic number 10. Back to O'Reilly on the edge of the area. He tries to find the top left corner and bends it over the bar. And it stays Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1, heading towards the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, Alistair Johnston's down injured now too. I don't know. I didn't see him getting involved with anybody, but he's just sat down in the Aberdeen penalty box, whether it's his groin or his hamstring.
I think Brendan Rodgers was going to make another change for Celtic, but he's just indicated to his coaching staff to hold that just now, because they've only got one more sub-interval remaining.
I think it's his hamstring. He's kind of holding the back of his leg, isn't he?
We'll wait and see what Celtic will do. They've already dropped points in 5 of their 23 games. Is it about to be 6 in 24?
Yeah,
one apiece here.
I'm just looking to see who could he bring on into that position if he moves maybe Ralston over to the right hand side. Might have to. I'm not too sure actually.
Yeah, well, he was going to make a change there. I'm not sure. Was it Daniel Kelly, the youngster, who was potentially looking at bringing on, but he might have to change his thought process here. Now, there are options. Ralston's already on the pitch and has been playing at left back since replacing Bernabei, so he has a right back on the pitch. He could also put Scales at left back if necessary in a rejig, but then the question would be what he would do with the centre back position. So we'll wait and see if Johnston's going to be able to continue. We are on 81 minutes on the clock, and it's Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1 here on Sportsound.
I think O'Reilly, is that O'Reilly that's going into
right back
area?
Johnston's coming back. He wants to come back on.
Yeah, it's a chance, isn't it? When your hamstring is not
it is.
You know.
Trip to Hibs up next for Celtic, and then a hat-trick of away games complete in the Scottish Cup 5th round at St Mirren next Sunday. Tough games. There's Duke for Aberdeen taking on Johnston, who's just come back on, but he does well, seems to be all right, moving okay as he fends off the challenge of Duke. And Peter Leven out there, the Aberdeen caretaker. Scott Anderson there as well. The latter's been at the club for many years. He was part of the youth setup, still is. He works with Neil Simpson in the pathways department here. As Palma picks up on the far side, Devlin does really well, slides in and wins it back, and now Miovski's on his bike down the right, looking to get onto the long ball from Clarkson. Miovski gets there ahead of Scales. Nobody in the middle in red right now. Duke's arriving at the edge of the box now. Back to Clarkson, infield to Shinnie. Shinnie's got Duke to his left. Duke up against Johnston. One apiece here. It's Duke inside the Celtic penalty area. Doesn't really know where to go. And he's heading for the byline now, but he just rolls it out, and that'll be a goal kick to Celtic. And it all comes to absolutely nothing for Aberdeen after excellent spade work by Bojan Miovski down the right.
It's brilliant again from the striker, showing a great deal of pace there, taking on Welsh down the right hand side, and allowing that to attack, to build, and unfortunately goes to Duke. And I don't think he's a great thinker of the game. I think he just does what it feels like he should do, and in that occasion he's got to put the ball into the box, isn't he? He just dwells on it, burrows himself round in circles. It's easy for Johnson to defend against him. Just do what his instinct tells him to do. That's how he was successful. That's why he was successful last season.
Remains 1-1 as it stands. Celtic dropping a couple of points here. Scales with a long ball, looking for O'Reilly, headed away by McKenzie. Duke has it. He's under pressure from 3 Celtic players who win it back, and Duke's wanting a free kick. He's not getting one. Kuhn for Kyogo, but it comes straight to McGrath, who's under pressure. He's done well, McGrath, but then he's tackled by his own man Gartenman, and Celtic have it. Edge of the box, Ida finds Kyogo, blocked by Jensen, and Roos will prevent the corner. Gathers it. McGrath dealt with that brilliantly. He didn't need the intervention from his teammate Gartenman, and it stays Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
Yeah, it was a nice layoff again by Adam Ida. He's impressed quite well since he's come onto the pitch in his first game. Doesn't look out of place at the moment in any way, shape or form.
Well, last season Celtic scored 38 goals in the last 15 minutes of league games. They've been doing it plenty this term as well. As Aberdeen come forward, they're headed away by Welsh, only as far as Shinnie. Rolls it out to McGrath on the touchline. That big bank of Celtic support. Shinnie, infield, Clarkson at the edge of the box. A low ball, it's clever, it's Miovski! Offside as he knocks it home. What a brilliant ball by Leighton Clarkson that was. That was the Clarkson of last season. but Miovski offside, and it stays Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Another nervy moment for the Celtic supporters.
Yeah, I mean, it is a brilliant pass, isn't it? And Miovski again, you know, it's just real quality. He just gets a little toe on it. He's got a wry smile on his face. He was offside, but you know, as you said, Liam, you know, Clarkson's capable of that. They're checking it, of course, they will check it, but the replays that we have seen, the linesman was correct.
Game on, 1-1, 5 of 90 to play. Here is Stephen Welsh for Celtic. Up towards the halfway line, forward and into the feet of Ida, spins away from Shinnies inside the centre circle, rolls it out to that left-hand side for Palma. Palma to the overlapping Ralston, is cross cut out by Devlin and out for a Celtic throw-in about level with the Aberdeen penalty spot over on the Celtic left as they attack the goal to the right. As they try and hunt down a late winner. You wouldn't put it past them. They've done it so often down the years. The throw-in's bowled into Kyogo. He's been challenged well by Shinnie. He wins it back for Aberdeen and slips it to Clarkson. Miovski's on his bike again. Clarkson with the big switch, looking for Duke. He's not going to get there, is he? No, not quite. And that's out of play. And Celtic are going to bring on Rocco Vata. The youngster got his first for the club in the recent Scottish Cup tie against Bucky Thistle. And he is going to replace Luis Palma Paki. So, your old teammate's boy coming onto the pitch here to try and rescue the situation for Celtic, because a draw isn't enough for them.
No, they're desperate for that, for a winner, aren't they? And you know, it's been much more of a challenge in the second half, and they did well to bounce back when they were out of the game. But you know, you never give up with Celtic, and they're always capable of scoring in the last couple of minutes. But Rokovata coming on, young Irish man again, even though his dad's from Albania.
Liam Scales has it on the left, out to the Vata on the far side. Yeah, they're looking to tie him down to a long-term deal, our Celtic, with Vata. Here's Scales, so the ball forward, the slip from Garteman, the clearance though by Jensen. Here's Barron for Aberdeen. Duke began his run, but Barron thought that was a risky pass. He goes back to McKenzie. Lofts the long ball forward, the header away by Welsh. Drops to O'Reilly, up into the air, Johnston. His header goes straight to Shinnie though. And is challenged by Kuhn. Shinnie in from the slide on O'Reilly. It goes out of play for an Aberdeen throw-in. This is going to be about level with the edge of the D of the Celtic box. 87 on the clock now. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think all round the energy that Aberdeen have shown this afternoon is commendable. You know, not really taking part in the game in the second half, but in the first half, but certainly the second half. It's been an outstanding game of football. Really enjoyed it.
McKenzie on the left, level with a 6, gets the cross in, looking for Miovski, flicked away by Ralston. Shinnie picks it up on the far side, rolls it out to Nicky Devlin. Down the touchline goes Devlin, down he goes. Free kick's going to be given here. The linesman waving his flag in front of the Celtic supporters, and that's going to be an Aberdeen free kick about level with the Celtic penalty spot. As Aberdeen look to win the match.
You definitely take it, but I didn't see too much contact. There's a little coming together there, and the far side linesman just wanted to get involved in it, and it's an opportunity for Aberdeen. Listen, you take that. You take the 50-50 decisions in your way at this stage of the game as well. If Aberdeen can find the back of the net and get the 3 points around that, watching the first half.
A chance for Aberdeen to fling the ball into the Celtic box here. Barron's over it. There's hands in the air just now as he signals to his teammates. What can Barron do here? The Aberdeen number 8 with it, right-footed into the penalty box it comes. It's headed away by Welsh. Taken down to the edge of the box by Miovski under pressure. It's Clarkson looking to return it to the penalty area, but it's cleared by Scales. And Celtic are away in a counter here. Nicholas Kuhn driving forward. Under pressure from 3 Aberdeen players, and then down. And that's going to be an Aberdeen free kick down this near side for the foul by Kuhn.
Yeah, I think he got him, you know, but it's great captain leadership, I would suggest, from Shinnie at his age. He's still showing the energy to get over there. He's caught again, it's accidental. He gets a little toe on the ball, and you know, Kuhn follows through and takes him out of the game, and Aberdeen get a free kick.
He's been excellent today, Shinnie. Jensen picks up and goes back to Garteman. Kyogo trying to chase him down. Garteman blasts it away with the right foot down the far side. McGrath's chasing, Ralston's there. We're into the final minute here of the 90. It's McGrath tries to win it back. Ralston goes back to his goalkeeper, and Hart launches it into the south stand on the far side. Aberdeen throw in. When it's taken, it'll probably be between the edge of the D and the midway point of the Celtic half, over on that right hand side. Well, the Aberdeen fans, they'll feel they deserve something from the game on the basis of the second half performance. Both teams have had chances out with the goals that were scored. 6 minutes have been bolted on at the end, and we're going into the first of those now. One apiece.
Liam, Pittodrie's rocking. There's a responsibility to make sure that's the case when the Old Firm come calling. And the second half, I think, gives everybody hope that might change, and the fact is that might become commonplace.
Yeah, they have the ability, they have the squad, they have the players. It's just confidence, it's mentality, as you talked about earlier, Willie. And I think that, from that perspective, you've seen that in the second half. They have proved people that they can actually come out and compete.
Yeah, here's McGrath at the edge of the box, gets his cross in, looking for... If there's any question, that's a penalty. The Aberdeen fans howling for it as Duke went down under the challenge of Welsh. Just strong defending, I think. And as Kuhn picks up on the halfway line for Celtic. Still time for both to win this game of football. It's level at 1-1 right now. And it's Anthony Ralston left of the centre circle for McGregor. Remember Callum McGregor's late winner here a year past December. Ralston switches the play out to Kuhn on this near side. One of the 8 minutes, and one of the 6 minutes has been played as Kuhn steps away from, slips it towards Ralston. He goes down, no free kick, says the referee though. Clarkson chases, Kuhn here first and passes it back to Scales. Huge few minutes in the Premiership season, at the top of the table this. And for Aberdeen, as Johnston crosses in towards Ida. Gets a little touch onto it with Vata on the left hand side of the Aberdeen box. Reverses it to Ralston. It's come off Devlin's, that come off his hand. I think it came off his hand there as the cross came in. Now, he was already on his way to ground at the time, Willie.
Yeah, it's difficult for us to confirm that. He certainly looks as though he's doubled over there. There isn't any claims from the Celtic players of a handball. I don't think they're going to check it. I think he took it in the mid there, Liam. It certainly looks that way. He's struggling to get back up. He's winded, because it was quite a forceful cross.
Yeah. Liam, you've got good eyes. Have you seen a handball? That's
well,
I couldn't see it because he's facing obviously the corner flag.
It doesn't look as though play's been held up for one, so if it did, it's the supporting arm. But it's going to be a Celtic corner by the looks of things, so no further action.
And we haven't seen a replay.
Matt O'Reilly will take the corner for Celtic. Outswinger with the left foot coming up. Stephen McLean's in the middle of a big group of players from both sides, round about the penalty spot. Celtic need to win the game to keep daylight with Rangers, who play Livingston later. In it comes from O'Reilly. It's beaten everyone though. Aberdeen might be able to hit in the counter here. Shinnie's going to get onto it in this near side. Forward towards Duke. His little touch forward was not what he was intending, and it goes straight through to Johnston, who goes back to Hart. And out to Scales. 3 of the 6 that have been added have been played. The closing stages at Pittodrie here on Sports Sound and BBC Radio Scotland. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Scales looks up. As it stands, Celtic would move 6 clear of Rangers. If they were to win their game against Livingston later, and you would suspect they would, it's down to 3, and Rangers still have a game in hand, which is at home to Ross County. Here's Stephen Welsh picking up in the centre circle for Scales. In a time when Aberdeen led, they were into the top 6. Here's Johnston out to Vatau, switched over to the right hand side. They're going to take on Duke. Gets his cross in, decent, just a bit too high for Ida, and it goes off the top of his head and out to the far side where Kuhn will pick up the scraps. Back to Scales. Out it comes to the Celtic goal scorer Kuhn, taking on McGrath on the stretch, the Aberdeen midfielder, and it's out of play off him last. Celtic have a corner with 2 minutes of stoppage time to play.
Last chance saloon, isn't it?
It is.
It's all about the quality of the ball in now. Oh, he's taking it short.
Yeah, but it comes to Kuhn, left hand side, taking on Barron. Delicate chip ball comes in, comes off McGrath's head on the 6-yard line. It's headed away by Jensen, only as far as Vatau blasts for goal. He's Been blocked by Shinnie's, claiming by a hand, and Aberdeen pick up here with McKenzie on the counter. Clarkson and Miovski trying to go up in support. It's Kyogo who gets back, and that's brilliantly done by Kyogo to win it back off McKenzie. Clips it forward. Aberdeen claim the ball had gone out of play there. Jensen, the leg, big long clearance. Johnston beats Miovski in the air. It's now with McGregor. Back to Scales. About to go into the final minute of injury time. McGregor just inside his own half, left of the centre circle, long ball. Ida with a header back there, looking for O'Reilly, but it goes straight to Devlin, who boots it away. Duke will try and chase it down. Johnston's the covering player. It's going to go out of play anyway for a Celtic throw in midway inside their own half. What if Celtic got left here? As it stands, they are dropping points for the 6th time this season. Coming into this weekend, they were 7 points worse off than they were at this point last term. A huge few seconds here at Pittodrie. Johnston bowling it infield, Kyogo forward, but Barron gets it and intercepts and clears up to the edge of the Celtic box. There's Scales out to Ralston on the left hand side. Last chance for Celtic here. Ralston has it. It's a big long ball out to this near side for Vata. He's done well. Vata controls, support arriving in the middle. Vata skips infield outside of the boot looking for Ida, and the mistake, and O'Reilly comes in. Roos saves it initially, still alive, chipped towards the 6-yard line, but it's clear by McGrath. Johnston's header straight to Duke, who clears, and it goes behind for a Celtic corner. Well, Stefan Garteman's head was swimming there, it was his header.
Yeah, it hits Duke's hand. I don't know if they'll check it. I've no doubt that it did hit his hand there as a little toe poke came in from the Celtic player.
Yeah, they're checking it.
They're checking it.
Yep.
His hand was out. For me, I don't believe it, but
my word.
It's totally unintentional. But I'm sure it's come off his hand. We haven't been afforded the opportunity of a replay.
No, looks like they're happy enough with it, Willie. Last chance for Celtic in the corner, and it comes the header from Scales. It's Welsh, in fact, who gets the final touch on it, 6 yards out, and it's over the bar, and it stays Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1, and it looks as though this game's going to end in a draw.
That's it.
It looks that way, yeah.
Yeah, all over. Celtic drop points at Pittodrie as Aberdeen end their losing streak against the champions. It was a record equalling 9 in a row that Celtic had beaten them, and whilst they haven't been able to remedy the winless run against them, which extends to 24, it's a morale boosting point for them, that's for sure. But it's 2 points spelled by Celtic, and now Rangers will look to capitalise on that when they take on the bottom side in just under half an hour's time at Ibrox. Bojan Miovski opening the scoring after Luis Palma thought he'd given Celtic the lead inside 7 minutes as he tapped home, but he was offside after Leo Labada's shot, which was saved by Roos. Palma tapped home, but it didn't count. They hit the bar a couple of times, did Celtic, in the first half. Palma and Bernardo did, as Aberdeen barely threatened, to the extent that they didn't have a single touch in the Celtic penalty area in that first half. But it was much better from the Dons under the caretaker stewardship of Peter Leven. The first game in the post-Barry Robson era ends in a draw. Again, it was a draw that cost Barry Robson here the other night, but this was against Celtic, and they've managed to take a point. And Miovski's goal was outstanding on 50 minutes. Nicholas Kuhn's first for the champions, though, rescued a point for them. They won't be celebrating it so often. They've come up here and they've lorded it over the Dons, and they have to settle for a point. The gap at the top is 6, but as the league stands, Rangers have 2 games in hand. That equaliser from Kuhn sparing them the defeat, but it's a 6th game this season that they've dropped points in, and just how crucial will that be come the end of the season? We shall find out. February begins for Celtic with a draw, and for Aberdeen, who go to Ibrox next on Tuesday, it's a big point for them as they try and rescue something from their league season. It finished here at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
On digital radio,
FM.
online.